Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. When I was chased at the beginning, I opened Mangekyō in seconds. Chapter 61. How can it be? Uchiha Kagami said seriously. Dust release is a blood inheritance elimination that exceeds the limits of blood inheritance. It requires the integration of the three chakra nature transformations of wind, fire, and earth to learn. The learning difficulty is very high. If it is so easy to learn, then why in the entire ninja world, only Onoki and his teacher who has passed away many years ago can do it? Besides, human energy is limited. Ninjas with poor talent will never be able to learn a single advanced ninjutsu in their lifetime, let alone the blood succession limit and blood succession elimination. It took me a lot of effort to learn steel release. How can I have time to learn it? Yes. Well, you have a point. Third Raikage was stunned. I feel like what the other person said makes sense. After all, no matter how talented a person is, it still takes time to learn slowly. Even if Uchiha Kagami is a genius, he can't learn it just by looking at it. Thinking about this made him feel a little better. As expected of a reckless man, he is so easy to fool. I saw that the other party believed it. Uchiha Kagami smiled quietly in her heart. But without revealing anything, he planned to take them back to Konoha. However, the third Raikage looked confused. Uchiha Kagami, can you just take me with you? My son and Killer Bee are extremely important to Cloud Shinobi Village. If you take them all back, a village that has lost 8 tails Jinchuriki will go crazy at all costs. You also know, there are not many people in our village who have brains. Maybe you Konoha are not afraid of challenges, but you are also afraid of crazy people, right? Well, then I'll listen to you. Uchiha Kagami thought for a while. It seems that he agrees with the other party's view. Ignoring the 2 young men behind him, he was about to take away the third Raikage. Konoha ninjas, stay with me. Father, I will never allow you to be taken away by them. Ah! I was furious. The lightning-style armor on his body was fully released, and his figure suddenly rushed forward. Swish! However, there was no time to get close to the other party. The cold touch of kunai was felt on his neck, and at some point, Uchiha Kagami appeared behind him. The 3-pronged kunai in his hand was just lying across his neck. Haha, so fast. Eyes pupils tightened and his expression was horrified. This man's flying thunder god is much faster than the yellow flash one. With my ultimate speed, I didn't notice the opponent's movement trajectory at all. But he couldn't sit back and watch his father being captured alive. It was obviously to wash away the shame last time, but now instead of doing it, it caused the father to be humiliated again. How could he accept this violent temper? Uchiha Kagami said calmly, your father is just visiting Konoha. If you don't want to suffer, just stay still. To be honest, Lord Third Raikage's anger is only superficial. He is a wise elder. Quote, being willing to sacrifice yourself to protect more valuable young people reminds me of my eldest brother. He did the same thing, but you are different. You are angry and irritable both inside and outside. You are not strong enough, so you can only be incompetent and furious. Why humiliate us so much? I said angrily. Is it humiliating? Haha, I'm doing this for your own good. If it weren't for the future, your father would have died several times long ago. Do you really think I, Uchiha Kagami, am so generous? Nonsense, I can't understand it. If you don't understand, try to become stronger instead of complaining here. Uchiha Kagami said disdainfully. Your father has the title of the strongest contradiction, and his body and strength are the best in the ninja world. What about you? Want to find a new way in speed? No matter how fast you are, can you be faster than the flying thunder god? No matter how fast you are, if you don't have enough strength and defense, you are still a weakling. Don't think that your father's path is wrong. At least until you become famous, you are not qualified to deny your father's achievements. Me, the next time we fight, I hope that the name of Fourth Raikage will not be dishonored. Asshole, I will never live up to the name of Fourth Raikage. I will defeat you with my own hands and avenge my father. Hehe. Uchiha Kagami ignored him. He took the third Raikage and left with Minato. Looking at the enemy in front of him, his eyes were filled with boundless anger. His father was defeated by Uchiha Kagami again and became a prisoner of Konoha again, but he still couldn't wash away his shame. Why again and again? Why am I so weak? Why? Is it wrong for me to pursue ultimate speed? Is it right to become stronger in all aspects of attack, defense, and speed? I couldn't help but feel bitter in his heart. Who doesn't want to become stronger in all aspects, but it's not that easy. His father studied the lightning-style chakra mode, constantly tempering his body with lightning strikes, and it took him so many years to make a name for himself. But he is still no match for Uchiha Kagami. Now that he was defeated in the field he was good at, how could this not make him feel powerless? So he also wanted to find another way and focus all his energy on speed. But now, the road seems to be on the wrong path again. Ai's mood was extremely tangled and complicated. The anger of his father being taken away made him feel extremely irritable, and he could not calm down and think about the way forward. Brother, don't be depressed, don't be sad. Killer Bee comforted him. You need to be calm in the melancholy days. Believe it, happy days will come. You and I, brothers, work together to defeat all idiots. Oh yeah, baby. It's so ugly. I won't give up. I'm I. Yes, I am Bai. We are the strongest partners. We are not afraid of all difficulties. The two looked at each other. They clashed their fists together and cheered up again. But, suddenly, a low and strong voice came from the bushes behind him. Do you want to bring back the third Raikage? I can help you do that. Who? I and Killer Bee looked nervous. Turning around and looking over, I found 3 people in front of me. Standing on the left is a tall beauty with lavender hair and a paper flower on her head. A pair of orange eyes, looking deserted. The one on the left has long red hair hanging down, covering his eyes so that his eyes cannot be seen clearly, but his temperament is very low. And the one in the middle. It's the person who just spoke, with orange hair. All 3 of them wore black god-like robes with red clouds tattooed on them, and wore Rain Shinobi Village forehead protectors. People from Rain Shinobi Village. I and Killer Bee warned. No, Hongyun Black Robe. What kind of evil organization are you from Rain Shinobi Village? What is your purpose? Yahiko stood up and spread his hands, and said righteously, No, correct me, we are not an evil organization, we are an ace mercenary organization under Rain Shinobi Village, responsible for quelling wars and disputes in the ninja world. You can call us, Akatsuki. Akatsuki Organization. I and Killer Bee are not too leisurely. It's not that he doesn't believe in the identity of the other party, Rain Shinobi Village, but that he doesn't believe in the so-called quelling the wars and disputes in the ninja world. Isn't this a complete joke? Shao Ninja Village still wants to quell the war and disputes. Besides, you are still just 3 people. Killer Bee and I felt for the first time that they had met a liar. You don't believe it. It doesn't matter. You will believe it soon. Come on. Nagato, show them. Yahiko clapped his hands. Nagato was slightly embarrassed, but still stood up. The amazing chakra on his body surged, creating an amazing wind and wave, and Uzumaki-like eyes were revealed with the wind and waves. Seeing this scene, I and Killer Bee were immediately shocked. What an amazing chakra. No, Shikara is not the point. Brother, look at his eyes, are they the legendary eyes of the immortal? That's right, it's the immortal eye. I stared at the other party, changing from contempt to seriousness. Rain Shinobi Village, there is such an organization. There is even the existence of the Eye of the Immortal. Are you really trying to quell the war in the ninja world? Otherwise, Akatsuki, who has the eyes of an immortal, is naturally the savior of this world and the god of this world. Yahiko's expression became more and more solemn. Uchiha Kagami ignored the peace of the shinobi world and took away the third Raikage privately. This will make the conflict between Cloud Shinobi Village and Konoha more intense. We Akatsuki will never allow this to happen. So, you really want to save my father? That's right. Thank you so much. Wait a minute, brother, he hasn't finished speaking yet. Yahiko said righteously. As a savior organization, our Akatsuki organization has taken great risks in order to maintain peace in the shinobi world. If the organization has a mental breakdown, injury, or death, it will also require medical expenses, mental loss expenses, pensions, etc. So it's normal to charge a little bit for hiring peacekeepers, right? Quote. I said thoughtfully, it's normal. How much do you want? Not much, only 200 million taels. 200 million, this is too much. Can it be cheaper? Wei said. Do you mean that the majestic third Raikage, known as the strongest spear and strongest shield in the ninja world, and known as the strongest in history, is not worth 200 million. Yahiko half smiled. How is it possible? My father is priceless. Just 200 million. I couldn't help but lose his temper. But their village also has money. But it was still not that much, and most of the expenses for the war were allocated by the Daming Mansion. But this kind of peacekeeping cost, is it considered to be caused by war? After all, there is no precedent. What if Daming Mansion doesn't allocate funds? If Cloud Shinobi Village paid for it himself, 200 million would actually be a big price, which left him in a bit of a dilemma. It seems that the other party is hesitating. Yahiko rolled his eyes slightly and came up with a countermeasure. Actually, you can sign an employment agreement with us first, then settle the settlement after we complete the employment task, and pay within the next 7 days. How about that? That's great, thank you. You're welcome. When you originally hired us Xiao, you had to pay a 50% deposit in advance, but for the sake of the first order, I'll give you this benefit. Thank you. By the way, aren't you worried that we will default on our debt? I looked suspicious. However, as soon as these words came out, the cold beauty on the left spoke for the first time, emphasizing in an extremely cold tone, no one dares to rely on our Akatsuki organization. Remember, no one, I hope you too, can recognize this. Okay, we will never default on our debt. I, the son of third rakeage. In fact, they are all the same, and they all say the same thing. I just asked casually, there is no possibility of defaulting on the bill. If it were replaced by an old silver coin like Onoki, there would really be no guarantee that it would be a bad debt. But fortunately, this is just the first order. After that, you will definitely need to pay the employment deposit in advance, otherwise you will have to withdraw the money from the boss if you are hired for nothing. Ever since, the two parties signed the employment agreement hastily. Nagato chased Uchiha Kagami and Third Raikage alone, leaving Yahiko, Konan, I, and Killer Bee looking at each other. But because they are not familiar with each other. Plus it was other ninja villages, so they were on guard. This makes it impossible for everyone to get together and chat, so the atmosphere is slightly awkward. But when he thought of the confrontation between Immortal Eyes and Uchiha Kagami, I couldn't help but wonder, aren't you worried that you will lose? That Uchiha Kagami is so famous that he has never lost a single battle, so I'm worried that something will go wrong. Quote, no, don't worry, our Xiao organization is professional. What if it fails? There is no such thing as a contingency. That's good. Thank you. Your organization is pretty good. Quote. Hear this with appreciation. Yahiko and Konan looked at each other. He knew it tacitly, but the smile on his lips could no longer be hidden. Knew it. The teacher is right. These fools in Cloud Shinobi Village are really easy to deceive. The other side, Minato and Kagami are jumping through the trees. But neither of them used Flying Thunder God to jump. Minato was a little confused and asked in a low voice. Teacher. Why don't you go back to Flying Thunder God? It's too slow. Don't worry, just wait. What are you waiting for? Wait until Cloud Shinobi Village comes to give us money. Huh, what does that mean? You'll understand soon enough. Uchiha Kagami smiled half-heartedly. On the contrary, Third Raikage, who was captured alive, looked grateful and said, Mirror, thank you for educating my son just now. I actually don't want him to take detours. If he can inherit my name, there is actually nothing wrong with it. But your son is stubborn and may not be able to listen. Jing said. It doesn't matter, but I still want to thank you. If you and I were not enemies, maybe we could become good friends. You are indeed a kind person. Haha, indeed, many people say that. Uchiha Kagami smiled slightly. In my mind, a long-lost mechanical prompt appeared. Ding. System hint. The favorability from Third Raikage +10, the relationship is upgraded from superficial friends to close friends and relatives, and 100 points of chakra, black thunder, and aura characteristics are obtained. The strongest body. The strongest body. When you take the initiative to learn or practice any nintaijutsu, you will definitely learn the nintaijutsu as long as it conforms to the logical theory, and the physical strength will continue to increase with practice time, and there is no theoretical upper limit. Quote ? Quote. Uchiha Kagami was shocked. Then my heart suddenly became ecstatic. The value of this characteristic aura is too high in the future, even as much as Ninja World Science and Ninja Professor. To know, the third Reikage is the strongest single Reikage in the ninja world. But it doesn't mean that the physical body is invincible, it's just that in this era, no one can achieve the power to destroy the world like Madara and Hashirama. Otherwise, no matter how strong your body is, you can be crushed with just one move. The main reason why the third Reikage was unable to grow to be physically comparable to the god of ninja was not because of chakra. On the contrary, Reikage and the others have a lot of chakra. They are all at the level of tailed beasts, mainly because human genes are shackles, so there is an upper limit to physical growth, and it is impossible to continuously improve. Even the previous Uchiha Kagami was the same. With continuous training and deepening of the physical body, coupled with the blessing of the Steel Escape blood succession limit, it can be stronger than the third Reikage, but its strength is limited. Beating up 8 tails and 9 tails shouldn't be a problem. But there is definitely no way to defeat Otsutsuki with one punch using his physical body. But things are different now. With the blessing of the strongest body, his physical body can be infinitely improved. In the future, it is no longer a dream to explode Otsutsuki with one punch. This is for him. The value of this characteristic halo is no less than the other two. And all of this came from third Reikage. Sure enough, I was right not to be ruthless, otherwise I would have missed such a good thing. Then, Uchiha Kagami's expression softened a lot when she looked at third Reikage. Third Reikage is a little confused. What are you planning to do? Suddenly, there was a red-haired young man in front of him. Nagato endured the awkwardness in his heart and said solemnly, "Following God's will, the ninjas of Konoha hand over the third Reikage and spare your life." Arrogant. How dare Shao Ninja Village be so arrogant? Teacher, let me take him down. Come back, you are no match for him. Before Minato could strike out in anger. He was stopped by Uchiha Kagami, looking quite puzzled. Minato and Nagato are both his disciples, but the only people who actually know about it are Tobirama, Jiraiya, Orochimaru, and Madara, who is hiding behind the scenes. Therefore, in the eyes of the outside world, Kagami only has one apprentice, Minato. Before Kagami had time to tell Minato that he had a senior brother, and one who was younger than him, the scene just happened. Seeing Minato's confusion, Uchiha Kagami pointed at his eyes. Look into his eyes. This is the legendary eye of the immortal. This red-haired young man is not an ordinary ninja. Who are you? Minato looked over. He immediately noticed something different, and his expression became serious. Have to say, the legend of Sage of Six Paths is a great deterrent to ninjas. Except for some pervert scientists, everyone was basically in awe, which led to Minato not daring to act rashly. Ha. Are you afraid? We are the Akatsuki organization, the ace mercenary organization under Rain Shinobi Village, and also the savior organization. You taking away third Reikage will make the ninja world more chaotic. Our Akatsuki organization is a justice organization, and we have the obligation to stop you. Nagato looked up to the sky and laughed, pointing at Uchiha Kagami. I know your name, Uchiha Kagami, but with these eyes, you are no match for me. Hand over the third Reikage obediently, and I can let you live. Really, I want to see if the immortal eyes are really that powerful. As soon as he finished speaking, with a swish sound, Flying Thunder God started. The next second, Uchiha Kagami disappeared from the spot. Well, Nagato was a little panicked. No, why did the teacher suddenly take action? This is different from what was promised at the beginning. What does this mean? No time to think about it. He raised his hands and opened them, and chakra surged up. Shinra Tianjang. Boom, as Nagato shouted angrily. The surrounding trees and grass were swept up. The huge repulsive force continued to spread, and the entire area of nearly 10 meters was razed to the ground. The scene was very shocking. So strong. Uchiha Kagami retreats continuously. Although he was not injured, he was still swept back. There was a hint of fear and reluctance in his eyes. You are indeed an aspiring young man who has inherited the immortal's eyes. I recognize your strength. I will give you the third Reikage. Let's go. Quote? Minato was confused. I feel like the teacher didn't do his best at all. He was forced to retreat with one move, and then left in a grand manner. But he didn't have time to think more. After all, whatever the teacher said was what he said, so the two of them left as Flying Thunder God. But I didn't leave completely. About a distance apart, the two sat down leaning on the tree. Uchiha Kagami casually dusted himself off and waited quietly. Minato couldn't help but ask curiously, "Teacher, although the opponent's move just now was powerful, why didn't you dodge it with your Flying Thunder God technique?" "You'll know in a moment," Jing said. "All right." Minato nodded. Not long after, 3 people came from behind. Nagato, Yahiko, and Konan walked over with a little excitement on their faces. "Teacher, we succeeded. Third Raikage found no flaws." "Well done." Uchiha Kagami patted their shoulders and said with a smile, "Our Akatsuki organization did a good job with the first order, although there are some flaws in the details." Nagato's lines were a bit too stiff, and his on-the-spot reaction was a bit slow. Although Third Raikage is not smart enough, he has his own little cleverness. There is no way to hide it without taking action. But fortunately, it is more than enough to deceive those reckless people. "Sorry, teacher." Nagato looked ashamed. "I didn't react just now. I was worried about accidentally hurting the teacher, so I hesitated." "It's okay. Don't blame yourself, good boy." Uchiha Kagami felt a little warm in her heart. He has not shown his strength for so many years, and Mangekyō and Wood Style have hidden it. As a result, Nagato thought that he would not be his opponent, but Nagato was such a warm man who was cold on the outside and warm on the inside, always thinking silently about others. "Well, before going dark," Uchiha Kagami asked, "by the way, how much is the employment fee?" 200 million, Konan said. "A little less, but not bad. But I was worried that the Cloud Shinobi Village Daimyofu would not allocate funds, so I asked for less. The Daiming Prefecture will allocate funds. The Third Raikage was captured alive once before, but around the middle and late stages of the war. Now the war has just started. The Third Raikage is captured alive again. The losses to the Daiming Prefecture will be huge." Uchiha Kagami said carelessly. "The Daiming Mansion doesn't care who plays the role. They only care about the money. Redemption of Third Raikage for 200 million. It's not a good deal at all. Next time, I'll just quote 1 billion taels." Allowing him to cut the price by 100 to 200 million makes Raikage think that he has taken advantage, but in fact it is us who have made a profit. Jing said. "I've learned my lesson, teacher." Konan nodded obediently. "Teacher, how's my performance?" "These lines, I made them up all by myself. What a god or a savior. They all sound so cool." Yahiko jumped out. He said every word. Uchiha Kagami couldn't help but roll his eyes, and his head collapsed on his forehead. "Can't you change the lines to be more plain next time? It sounds so awkward that I can't help but dig my toes into the floor." "Where's the awkwardness? How cool. Besides, Nagato has Rinnegan. What is he if he's not a savior?" Yahiko pouted. "I'm too lazy to tell you." Uchiha Kagami shook his head helplessly. Yahiko has a very outgoing personality, very similar to Naruto. He is also a very sunny and cheerful person, but his aura of being a middle school student is too strong. After Yahiko died in the original work, Nagato not only inherited Yahiko's body, he also inherited his Chunibyo. But the good thing is that this is Hokage, and he's actually not that crooked. And at this moment, Minato was completely confused. What on earth is this? Why does the teacher have more apprentices? But under Uchiha Kagami's explanation, he roughly understood the cause and effect. It was their plan to capture and release Third Raikage alive. But Minato still doesn't quite understand. "Teacher, are you doing this just for money?" "Money is only one of the reasons. The most important thing is to take away the Third Raikage. In fact, the deterrent effect is not great," Uchiha Kagami explained. "The reason why Cloud Shinobi Village surrendered so quickly last time was because there was no qualified successor to the Fourth Raikage for the time being, but now that there is one, they will not surrender so easily. In addition, it can make the Akatsuki organization famous. The Akatsuki organization is a mercenary organization of Rain Shinobi Village. It was originally not qualified to be in the sight of other major countries. But Nagato has the legendary fairy eyes, and no one dares to underestimate this organization. And this order is to build momentum for the Akatsuki organization. On the one hand, it can use hiring tasks to gather war resources. On the other hand, it can prevent some small countries from being destroyed. It can also be regarded as contributing to the peace of the ninja world. Then how can you tell the good guys from the bad guys? Minato asked. Whoever gives more money is a good person. Ah. Minato was confused. I was shocked by this answer. It seems a bit unacceptable to say that whoever gives more money is a good person. But in fact, the main reason why Uchiha Kagami did this. Or because by doing this, it is no longer enough to obtain chakra. After all, we have captured Cage so many times that everyone is used to it and there won't be too many surprises. And he introduced Nagato as the savior, which can be regarded as cooperating with Nagato to create a bigger scene in the later period. After this time, I think his chakra will surpass Hashirama. Once you learn Senjutsu, you will be invincible in the ninja world. Unless Uchiha Madara is resurrected as Ten Tails Jinchuriki, no one will be able to match him. But there is no way to elaborate on these. So, Uchiha Kagami said, Minato, this world is black and white. Ninjas are a profession of killing people. How can there be real good and bad people? If we really want to talk about good guys and bad guys. The 5 major countries started a ninja war, which caused too many people to die, then Konoha is also a bad guy, isn't it? But from an individual perspective, there are also a small number of people who are really bad to the core, so they need to be treated differently. Of course he was talking about the old dog Danzo. This guy is completely evil for his own selfish purposes, bad to the core. Others may have killed many people because of their stance, but Danzo is the kind of person who will kill everyone no matter who they are, as long as they endanger my interests. You've been taught a lesson, teacher. Minato nodded. It doesn't matter. You will be the 4th Hokage in the future, and Nagato will become the leader of Rain Shinobi Village. You will have many contacts in the future. Let's work together for peace in the ninja world. Is teacher. Minato nodded. Then I shook hands with Yahiko and Nagato. Nagato was the first disciple he accepted. Logically speaking, Minato would be called senior brother, but there was an age difference between the two of them. Minato is 21 years old this year, and Nagato is not yet 15. However, the appearance of the two of them is very similar, so Nagato calls him Minato brother, and Minato calls him directly in private. It can be regarded as inheriting Jing's usual casual appearance. Uchiha Kagami asked, by the way, Yahiko, Hanzo will abdicate soon, right? When does Nagato plan to become the leader? It's not him, it's me. Yahiko said, Nagato said that he is not suitable to be the village leader and asked me to be the leader. He will be the leader of the Akatsuki organization to cooperate with me. Konin will be responsible for financial management. That's okay, no problem, keep doing it, Yahiko. Is teacher. Yahiko smiled happily. After receiving the teacher's approval, he felt relieved. In fact, this is no different from what Jingyi expected at the beginning. Although Yahiko is a bit weaker, he has a strong leadership charm. It will allow Rain Shinobi Village to grow rapidly. Therefore, in comparison, Yahiko is more suitable. The Akatsuki organization is destined to be an elite organization in the future. Nagato is very strong and can convince the public. As for Konin, there is no one more suitable than him. 3 days later, Cloud Shinobi Village kept its promise and gave 200 million in employment fees. The Akatsuki organization took it from Uchiha Kagami, and the news of returning the 3rd Raikage spread like wildfire. At this point, the name of the Akatsuki organization completely resounded throughout the ninja world. Soon after, Hanzo abdicated. Yahiko became the leader of Rain Shinobi Village, and Nagato became the leader of the Akatsuki organization, and their names gradually became known to the public. The 3rd Raikage did not suspect that Hanzo was pretending. Although he killed Hanzo before, he did not check the body after all, plus the healing jutsu revealed before the mirror. Let the other party mistakenly think. It was the mirror that saved Hanzo, whose life was hanging by a thread, and thus escaped the fate of death. But as time passed, the war became more intense, and Minato, as the mainstay of Jonin and Konoha, became more and more prominent on the battlefield in order to become the 4th Hokage. Despite his fame, Namikaze Minato was dissatisfied. Especially after meeting the Rinnegan, I discovered that Nagato was only 15 years old and had many more Shikaras than him, and could change the environment and terrain with a single blow. He became increasingly aware of his own shortcomings. Although there is Flying Thunder God, his attack is too weak, so he can still deal with weaker people. But when there are too many, you need to always pay attention to chakra loss to prevent you from being unable to escape from the battlefield with Flying Thunder God. But if he encounters a pervert body like Third Raikage, no matter how fast he is, it will be useless as he will not be able to break through the defense with kunai. Then, he found his teacher. After arriving at the home of the Uchiha clan leader and bowing to his teacher, he made his intention known. Teacher, I want to become stronger. Can you teach me lightning-style chakra mode? This technique seems to increase the amount of chakra, right? Uchiha Kagami disagreed. But that's too slow. Minato, lightning-style chakra mode, takes a long time to study. Now the war is about to enter a fierce stage, and you are too late. Then what should I do? Is this the only limit I have? No, it's much more than that. Your talent is very strong. But you need to take a shortcut. This shortcut can help you. It depends on whether you are willing. Teacher, please tell me. The method is simple. You become Nine Tails Jinchuriki. Namikaze Minato was confused and asked, Teacher, if Kushina loses 9 tails, she will die as a Jinchuriki. Under normal circumstances, this is indeed the case, but I have a way to ensure that Kushina will not die, but will be slightly weaker. Jing said. Really? Of course it's true, Minato. Of course Jing didn't talk nonsense. As a rule, Jinchuriki's tailed beast pulling away is fatal. But there are often exceptions. For example, in the original work, Killer Bee was pulled away from 8 tails, but Shikara, who was left with an octopus tentacle, did not die. And he can actually completely split 9 tails into 2 parts. But here comes the problem. 9 tails and 8 tails are different, and they cannot be operated like 8 tails. Unless you become 10 tails Jinchuriki and incarnate as 6 paths, use Yin-Yang Escape to split 9 tails in 2, which is the easiest and most difficult method. The original Sage of 6 paths. Just use Yin-Yang Dun to divide 10 tails into 10 parts. The Ghetto statue, which represents the body of 10 tails, and the 9-tailed beasts. This is almost as good as creating life. It is of course easy to divide the tailed beasts again, but the current Uchiha Kagami cannot do it. Either, just like Namikaze Minato in the original work. Split 9 tails into 2 parts with Ghoul Seal and 8-sign seal. But existences like Shinigami are too mysterious. Unless you can get a bug like Orochimaru, don't use this method easily. There is a third method. It can also avoid the ending of Jinchuriki being pulled away from the tailed beast. A typical example is that after Obito took the lead in transforming into 6 paths, he was defeated by Naruto and Sasuke and separated from 10 tails. Originally, Obito was also destined to die. Even Black Zetsu temporarily regained his life, but used the Rinne Tensai technique. Both of them add up to death upon death, but Naruto, who has opened the power of 6 paths Yang, forcibly changed his life to avoid the fate of death. In fact, this is the powerful power of Yin-Yang Escape. Yin Escape uses the power of Yin as its source from the mental energy of the master's imagination to create forms out of nothing. Yang Dun uses the power of Yang as the source of the body energy that governs life, and gives life to the form. Naruto was able to regenerate Kakashi's left eye and save Guy from the inevitable death of the 8 Inner Gates formation, all because of the second power. Note, Obito was actually cured by Naruto in the end. This is what Obito said in the original novel. There is no such thing as Naruto. Naruto only has a short life extension. 6 paths Naruto can create life from scratch, although it is only temporary. But this method was too early, he didn't even have a Rinnegan. How about controlling Yin-Yang Escape? In addition to these 3 methods, Uchiha Kagami also has a 4th method. That's what's all-powerful, science. You must know that the reason why the tailed beast was separated and Jinchuriki died was because it lost a lot of vitality. The vitality of human beings is inherently fragile, and even the Uzumaki clan can barely support it, so they need additional vitality. Therefore, as early as a few years ago, when Minato was accepted as a disciple, Mirror has actually made plans in advance for Orochimaru to continue studying Hashirama cells. This time is different from last time. The vitality that needs to be provided this time is extremely huge. And it can sufficiently replenish the vitality lost due to the loss of 9 tails. With the blessing of Ninja World Science, it turned decay into a miracle, and finally developed, Hashirama Cell 2.0 Vitality Replenishing Potion, a few days ago. This potion, enough for Kushina to survive stripping off a tailed beast. Minato, let's go to the beach in 3 days. Nine Tails will definitely go berserk when it is stripped away. In order to prevent it from affecting the people in the village, it is better to stay away. In addition, we need to report it to Orochimaru. Okay, teacher. Minato nodded. Kagami took a potion from Orochimaru. Then he took Minato, Kushina, Kakashi, Obito, and Shisui to the sea, and at the speed of the flying thunder god, they would arrive in no time. Orochimaru didn't come. After all, being a Hokage is very busy. And he also believed that the mirror could handle Nine Tails. After all, after awakening first Hokage's wood style, Nine Tails would not be a problem. They specially picked a small, uninhabited island. There were constant waves all around, the banana trees were swaying on the sea, and the young people on the beach looked nervous. No way. Nine Tails, the strongest tailed beast. For these teenagers, the deterrent effect is very great. Minato wasn't sure why he brought Obito and the others here. Wouldn't it be more dangerous, but he didn't ask in detail. Since the teacher does this, there must be a reason. Uncle Mirror. Obito stood next to him, cautious and scared. Why do you have to bring us here? Are you really not afraid that the tailed beast can't be suppressed? It's very simple, just to show you how weak the tailed beast is. Obito didn't believe it, but Kakashi admired him very much and said with shining eyes. Look, I told you that Uncle Jing can definitely do it. Nine Tails can suppress it in minutes. Uncle Jing and my father are known as the two heroes of Konoha, so there will be no problem. Of course. Uchiha Kagami patted his head, looked at the confused Obito, and asked in a serious tone, Obito, do you really like that girl named Lin? How did you know? Obito blushed immediately. Well, I didn't say that. I'm not. I just have a good impression, not. It's not a good boy to lie. Okay, I like Lin. Obito admitted. Oh, then let me ask you, what if the Lin you like becomes a tailed beast Jinchuriki, and one day she is controlled by a bad person to go on a rampage in Konoha and harm people? Uchiha Kagami asked patiently. And Lin was also aware of the danger, and died in Kakashi's hands on purpose. Whose fault do you think it was? Lin became a Jinchuriki and died at the hands of Kakashi, clan leader. Don't be kidding me, I never thought about it. I'm not kidding, just think about it now. Obito's eyes were a little frightened. Even his face became a little pale. Uchiha Kagami stared into his eyes and said calmly, if Lin dies, will you feel that it is the fault of this world? And then you would not hesitate to kill the person you were closest to for Lin. For example, the teacher and wife who love you the most. Obito's eyes widened and he said in disbelief, how is it possible? How could I do this? Isn't that like an animal? The teacher cares about me so much, my master takes care of me so much, I will never do that. Yeah, Uchiha Kagami looked at him and said sincerely, I hope you remember what I said today, Obito, if one day the girl you like dies in front of you, it will definitely not be the fault of this world, nor the fault of others. But remember, don't run away from reality. If you take the wrong path, you can't turn back. Obito was panicked. After listening to these words, I always feel uneasy in my heart. If he were an ordinary person, he wouldn't believe these words, but Jing is his elder after all, and one of the elders he trusts very much. In terms of seniority, he is Namikaze Minato's disciple, and Minato is Mirror's disciple. Logically speaking, Obito wanted him to call him master, but Mr. Mirror felt that this title was as unlucky as if he was buried in the grave, so he asked Obito to call him uncle like before. Or just call the clan leader. In these years of getting along, the two actually have a very close relationship. At least compared to the Minato couple, they are pretty much the same, except that Uchiha Kagami is not so popular with children because of her status as the clan leader. And Obito has had many barbecues at his house over the years, so the two of them have a good relationship. He felt that if he could use words to make Obito less extreme and awaken Mangekyō's power, it couldn't be easier. As for Lin, impure world reincarnation can also be revived. After transforming into 6 paths, it will not be a problem to develop Rinne Tensei without side effects. After all, he is cheating, these little things are very simple. Okay, let's get started. Uchiha Kagami clapped his hands. Let Minato take Kakashi, Obito, and Shisui away. And the two of them came in front of Kushina. Kushina lifted up her clothes, revealing her white belly. He is Kushina's elder, so there are no other evil thoughts. Instead, he watched quietly, looking at the clearly visible black seal lines on his belly, as if he could see through the deep hatred of Nine Tails at a glance. Uchiha Kagami looked slightly condensed and said, I will unseal your seal later and let Nine Tails come out of your body. Minato will take you away first. I will inject you with life potion to maintain it, but you will definitely be weak if you are weak, and it will take a while to recover. After that, I will personally suppress Nine Tails, and then seal Nine Tails into Minato's body with the 8-sign seal. Ready, Kushina. Ready, Senior. Then I'll start. Untail seal. Come out, Nine Tails. Uchiha Kagami looked solemn. He quickly formed a seal with his hands and raised his hand to press on her belly. I saw the black seal lines on her belly, rapidly twisting and spreading to all directions, which was the prelude to unlocking the seal. Then, Kushina's belly turned black. A sting. A ball of extremely scarlet and evil chakra rose into the sky and turned into a huge Nine-Tails demon fox, standing on this deserted island. The whole island is not big. Nine Tails has appeared, occupying almost half of the island. Minato, take Kushina, is teacher, at the reminder of the mirror. Minato became a flying thunder god and left with Kushina in his arms. Ho ho, ho ho, as soon as Nine Tails appears. His eyes were filled with hatred, and he immediately opened his bloody mouth. Chakra began to condense, and a stunning tailed beast bomb burst through the air. Uchiha Kagami was wearing a red armor and stood so small on the treetops without any fear at all. Hehe, this trick is useless to me, flying thunder god technique guiding mine. Uchiha Kagami forms a hand seal. The special kunai in his hand opened, and the huge flying thunder god barrier spread out. The tailed beast bomb hit the barrier, swallowing up the tailed beast bomb inch by inch, and then appeared on another sea area. Boom! Explosions resounded all around. A large area of seawater was instantly evaporated. Even though it was 10 kilometers away, there was still an astonishing huge wave. As expected of tailed beast bomb, Uchiha Kagami couldn't help but sigh. With such power, it's no wonder Madara wanted to control Nine Tails to fight Hashirama. With Madara's power at that time, cooperating with Susanoo, it can really improve a lot of strength. But it's a pity, even with such terrifying power, it is still no match for Hashirama. But then again, the gap between the tailed beasts is too big. In the later stage of Naruto's Nine Tails mode, he easily defeated 5 tailed beasts and even had some energy left. Looking at it this way, the old man from Six Paths is really biased. When dividing the tailed beasts, chakra will most likely be 1 for Shukaku, 1 for Nine Tails, 1 for Two Tails, 1 for Nine Tails, 1 for Three Tails and 1 for Nine Tails. After equal portioning, we found out, so much left. Never mind, all to the lovely Kurama. Don't tell me, Kurama was really cute when he was a child, but when he grows up, he looks a bit like a husky, but he is not so lovable. Seeing as the tailed beast bomb doesn't work, Nine Tails roared crazily and rushed over immediately. He raised his hand to slap the human in front of him to death. But the next second, Uchiha Kagami clapped his hands, and a huge crack suddenly appeared on the ground. Wood-style wood dragon technique. Click, click. Countless vines intertwined. It transformed into a slender and huge wooden dragon and bound Nine Tails tightly. No matter how hard it struggled, it was to no avail. But Nine Tails is still struggling. After all, it has just been released. Everyone has their moments of mischief. That's enough, Kurama. Uchiha Kagami's eyes widened and turned into a barbed windmill. Under Mangekyō's eye power hypnosis, the opponent immediately calmed down. When Nine Tails heard this title, he couldn't help but be a little surprised and shocked. Where did you know that? And your Sharingan, this reminds me of that man. He also enslaved and controlled me like that. Now, daughter, you going to control me too? Uchiha Kagami said. I have no interest in your power. As for your name, I will tell you later. What you need to do now is find someone to be your residence. Residence? What do you mean? To put it simply, it's like replacing Nine Tails Jinchuriki, and you need to provide him with chakra and help him as much as possible. Aren't you going to use me? Human being. Ninetales' eyes became more and more angry. But he was forced to calm down by Mangekyō hypnosis. Uchiha Kagami is too lazy to talk nonsense. Anyway, Naruto can resolve conflicts with Ninetales. Minato's personality charm is much stronger than Naruto. He feels that he may not be able to control the Ninetales mode, and it may even be sooner. Leftover. He doesn't care, just leave it to Minato. Then, Uchiha Kagami stored Ninetales in Minato's body as 8-sign seal. On the other side, Kushina injected Hashirama's life potion, but did not die due to the tailed beast being withdrawn. Minato became the new Jinchuriki. Teacher, is this successful? Minato said in surprise. Of course, you are the new Ninetales Jinchuriki, but if you want to fully master the power of Ninetales, I suggest you. Before Uchiha Kagami could finish speaking, in his mind, a long-lost mechanical sound came. Ding. System hint. Favorability mission completed. Change Namikaze Minato's fate of dying in the Ninetales Rebellion. Rewards. Eternal Mangekyō Sharingan Culture Vessel Namikaze Minato's favorability plus 20, Chakra 2000 points. Mission accomplished. Uchiha Kagami raised her eyebrows slightly. He was a little surprised, but basically it was expected. At first, he thought that since he wanted to change Minato's fate, he might as well just enhance Minato's strength. But later I found out. Simply strengthening his strength is not enough. Even if he teaches more advanced ninjutsu, it will be useless. After all, Minato's basic conditions are still a bit weak, and chakra is far inferior to the Uzumaki family. It will be useless if you can't use a few more ninjutsu. So he simply changed the plot and let Minato serve as the new Ninetales Jinchuriki. And Minato is a person with a very charming personality. Naruto has become friends with Ninetales through more than 10 years of hard work. Then Minato will take care of Ninetales in 2 or 3 years, so it won't be difficult to open a Ninetales model, right? Although Minato does not have the mouth escape technique. But in the original work, even Ninetales actually rarely expressed his admiration for the man who once sealed him. Not to mention, even the rap singer Killer Bee can get along well with Eight Tails. I, Minato, am no more friendly than you, Killer Bee, and with my own advice and guidance, I have a chance to become the perfect Jinchuriki. Now that he has become a perfect Jinchuriki, there is almost no such thing as the Ninetales chaos. Sure enough, the task was accomplished. Teacher. Why don't you speak? Minato waved his hand, with a puzzled look on his handsome face. You just said how to master the power of Ninetales. It's very simple. Be friends with Ninetales. Jing said. What? So simple. It's easy to say and hard to say. Uchiha Kagami patted him on the shoulder and taught him patiently. Tailed beasts are actually very lonely. They have never wanted to bring trouble to the ninja world. It's just that human selfishness is too serious. The tailed beasts want to control the power of the tailed beasts to achieve their own goals, so the tailed beasts hate humans more and more. The tailed beasts all have their own names. Before making friends, you must at least use their names to show respect. Tailed beasts have names. This is the first time I've heard of them. So what's the name of Ninetales? Kurama. It's a cute name, I understand, teacher. Minato showed a warm smile. I will become good friends with Kurama. I believe that one day I will resolve the hatred in his heart. Yeah, I believe you. Uchiha Kagami smiled gently. I have to say, Minato is really handsome. This warm and handsome smile, even the mirror is infected. I think Kurama will be conquered soon. After returning to Konoha village. After arriving in the bedroom at home, I made sure no one was around. He took out a glass vessel from his arms, which was filled with translucent nutrient solution, and the nutrient solution wrapped 2 Mangekyō Sharingan. The shape on the Sharingan is completely different from his pair. It is a triangular rhombus pattern. Seeing this pair of Sharingan, Uchiha Kagami looked suspicious. This doesn't seem to be the Eternal Eye, right? Isn't it an ordinary Mangekyō? Hey, system. Why are you lying to people? Why don't you explain? Ding. The system never lies. The Sharingan I extracted the genes of your brother from the earth and cultivated the Mangekyō Sharingan. As long as you successfully transplant it, it will evolve into the eternal Mangekyō Sharingan. ZG people do not lie to ZG people. Quote. Uchiha Kagami slapped his forehead and flashed a black line, and said very speechlessly, Even on Earth, I don't have an older brother. I am an orphan. How can I get an older brother without a father and mother? Did you just make it up out of thin air? This system says there is, then there is. How? Awesome. What else can Uchiha Kagami say? The system created a brother for him out of thin air. And he also bred Mangekyō Sharingan from his brother's genes. You are so awesome, why don't you just give me a pair of eternal eyes? Or, just let me evolve into the eternal eye. I have to cut it out and replace it myself, which is really unnecessary. Uchiha Kagami was too lazy to complain. He took a deep breath and dug out his eyes. 2 wisps of blood immediately streaked across his cheeks. Hiss. It hurts a little. Please change it quickly. Uchiha Kagami gasped. Take out the Mangekyō from the culture vessel. Then he directly placed it in his eye socket. His eyeballs immediately rolled, and the injury recovered in an instant. After all, there are perfect levels of Hashirama cells. With the blessing of Wyan self-healing, this injury is nothing at all. At this moment, the scarlet eyes changed into other shapes. The original barbed windmill has a triangular diamond pattern, which looks very cool. Yes, we have the Eye of Eternity. Uchiha Kagami glanced at the original Mangekyō in his hand and couldn't help but look forward to it, but these eyes are not useless. Maybe they can be transplanted to Shisui in the future, so that Shisui can also awaken the eternal Mangekyō. To know, Shisui's talent is also very strong. Although he is still young now, he has already shown his talent. For example, the unique teleportation technique, and the follow-up distinguished heavenly gods, an illusion that can modify the will, can come in handy at critical moments. In the original book, even though Shisui died, his eyes helped Itachi escape from the control of impure world reincarnation. This changed the outcome of the Fourth Ninja War. So, how strong will Shisui be with the Eternal Eye? As time flows, the major ninja villages launched strong attacks one after another. Especially, Sunagaku's latest 4th cage as the Red Sand Scorpion. Because Kagami killed Chiyo before, Scorpion's attack on Konoha was extremely crazy. Coupled with the cooperation of the 3rd cage, the 2 attacks were almost impeccable. Konoha's White Fang Hatake Sakumo did his job and started a battle with it. But with 1 against 2, they were quickly defeated. Afterwards, Konoha Sanin fought with them and barely stalled the battle. Although Kurigakure was also attacking, it did not dispatch enough land and sea elites, and seemed to be waiting for some opportunity. As second only to Konoha, Iwagakure changed from usual and dispatched tens of thousands of rock shinobi ninjas. Although Cloud Shinobi Village is not as good as its opponent, with the joint efforts of 3rd Raikage and AB, even Konoha with its dirty soil troops has gradually declined. The battlefront has approached the border of the country of fire. Note, the reason why the war situation is declining is not that impure world reincarnation is not effective, but that impure world reincarnation is blasphemous to the soul after all. Considering that the number of people and family members is temporarily small, it is also because Jing did not take action. Original. Orochimaru plans to send Mirror to support. Dan Jing recommended his apprentice Minato and the 3 teenagers in Minato's class. Kakashi, Obito, and Nohara Rin, these 3 teenagers, except Obito, all showed great talents. Nohara Rin's medical talent is very rare. Kakashi's talent is even more amazing. At only 12 years old, he became the youngest Jonin like Shisui. The 2 teamed up to break the youngest Jonin record in Konoha history. The border of the Fire Nation. The 3 of them squatted under a tree. Minato, Kakashi, and Nohara Rin are all here. Only Obito was slower and it took him a long time to catch up. Sorry, Obito said with shame on his face. Teacher, I'm late, I was delayed by something. Do you know what time we will gather? My father said. As a ninja, the most important thing you should know is to abide by the rules. Kakashi said with disgust. Obito explained in a panic. I was able to get there, but I met an old lady asking for directions on the way. The old lady was carrying a lot of things. I was worried that she would be too tired by herself, so I sent her back. Haha, I don't believe it. Kakashi even believes it. But he also chose to quarrel with Obito, and the 2 never dealt with each other. One thinks the other person is too much of a drag and pretends to be a warm-hearted boy all the time. The other thinks the other person is too stinky and pretends to be cool all the time. Okay, Okay, we are all partners, don't quarrel. Nohara-Lin stopped her gently. Kakashi glanced at Obito and said with an arrogant expression, Lin, are you too spoiled to Obito? Today is an important day for me. Shisui and I were both promoted to Jonin, breaking Konoha's record. Teacher gave me a special Flying Thunder God Kunai, Lin gave me an improved medical kit, what about you? I don't have a gift for you. Obito pouted. Kakashi shrugged indifferently. Forget it, it's useless for you to give me gifts. You are a dragster anyway, so giving me gifts will become a burden. What are you talking about? Someone like you can become a Jonin. Obito stared at him with his hands on his hips and said unconvinced, sooner or later, I, Obito, will surpass you. I am a member of the Uchiha clan. When my Sharingan opens its eyes, I will be able to defeat you. Hehe, Kakashi mocked disdainfully. Do you have to activate Sharingan to surpass me? Shisui and I grew up together. He developed a unique teleportation technique before he even opened his eyes. Even I am not his opponent. Shisui is very strong even without opening his eyes, but what about you? You can only rely on Sharingan. You and I. Obito was furious. He couldn't help but wanted to take action, but Lin stopped him. Namikaze Minato on the side stood up and said with a serious look, okay, let's stop arguing. Now it's time to talk about our mission. According to the intelligence, Iwagakure dispatched tens of thousands of ninjas, intending to pull the battle line directly into our kingdom of fire, but this is absolutely not possible. But the opponent has tens of thousands of ninjas, and based on their continuous advancement of the front line, it can be seen that the kingdom of Earth definitely has very strong backup. We cannot confront them head-on, we must take other measures. What measures, sensei? Kakashi asked. Right here. Namikaze Minato pointed at the map. If you want to defeat the enemy at the front line without choosing a frontal battle, you need to destroy their bridge transporting supplies to cut off the opponent's supply route. Evacuate immediately after success. I will directly attack Iwagakure's enemies on the front line to distract you. After I leave, Kakashi, you will be the captain. Clear. The three Kakashi nodded solemnly. The four of them acted separately and soon arrived behind the enemy's rear. But the opponent has a trap already, and the battle is about to break out. However, Kakashi was too young after all. The 12-year-old Jonin let him underestimate the enemy, and Nohara-Lin was captured alive. But the difference from the original work is, although Kakashi abides by the rules of the ninja, he is also taught by the mirror. Not wanting to abandon his companions to complete the mission, he and Obito launched a rescue operation. After all, those who ignore their companions are the worst kind of trash. Soon they encountered an enemy, Iwagakure's Jonin Oishi, who quietly abducted Nohara-Rin using the camouflage stealth technique. And Obito didn't open his eyes. Unable to detect the opponent's position at all, Oishi stabbed the kunai in his hand. Kid, you are too weak. Die. But the next second, a flash of white light flashed, and Kakashi raised his hand to fight it back. Dashi's chest was cut open, and although the injury was minor, a lot of blood still flowed out. Dashi stood on the tree and stared at the other person, silver hair. Chakra knife shining with white light. Could it be that you are with that Konoha's White Fang? I am his son. It turns out to be just a child of Konoha's White Fang, so there is no threat, haha. Ninja technique. Camouflage stealth technique. Dashi laughed ferociously. As soon as you raise your hand, you become one with the environment. Kakashi sniffed his nose and frowned. I can't smell anything anymore. It seems I can only predict his location by the faint sound of air movement. Then where is he now? I can't hear him at all. Behind you. Be careful. Kakashi's expression changed. But Obito is too weak now and has no time to react. Kakashi could only bite the bullet and block in front of Obito. The kunai instantly scratched his eyes, and a wisp of blood shot out instantly. Hiss. My eyes. Kakashi, are you okay? Are you okay? Obito became nervous instantly. I walked over, tears welling up under my goggles. Kakashi was in pain but could bear it, but he was no longer able to fight, so he could only encourage Obito as much as possible. The enemy is not simple either. He immediately dropped the kunai with my bloodline attached to it. Obito, stop crying. You have goggles, there's no way sand could get in, you're such a crybaby. You are a ninja. You are not a waste at the end of the crane. Don't let Uncle Jing live up to his expectations for you. I see. Obito looked at the injured Kakashi. A completely different power seemed to burst out in his heart. And behind, there was the sound of a sneak attack. However, Obito suddenly turned around and stabbed the kunai behind him. Poof! The kunai pierced his body. Dashi stared at the other party and lost his voice in shock. How is it possible? How? Can you see me? No, your eyes. He found that the boy in front of him was different. The goggles no longer cover the eye sockets, but the eyes within the sockets. The Sharingan has long been transformed into a scarlet eye with dazzling eyes, and it is not an ordinary Magatama. But, Tomo Sharingan. Obito kicked the corpse down with a strong look in his eyes. This time, it's my turn to protect my companions. I'm not a loser at the end of a crane, nor am I a crybaby. I'm Uchiha Obito. Obito. Kakashi looked into his eyes and asked, your eyes are different from the original ones. Have you opened them? Yes, this should be Sharingan. Obito touched his eyes and couldn't help but sigh. I can clearly see the flow of chakra. The opponent's camouflage and visibility technique is completely ineffective on me, and my vision is even sharper. I'm no longer a weakling. The ordinary Sharingan has improved so much. So how strong is Uncle Mirror's Mangekyō? Yeah, it hurts. Kakashi covered the scar on his left eye with a painful expression. Kakashi, are you okay? How are your eyes? Obito asked worriedly. I guess I can't save it, but fortunately I have the medical kit Lin gave me. I can take care of it briefly. Let's go rescue Lin right away. Okay, let's go. Kakashi used the medical kit to treat his injuries. Soon he caught up with another target, Iwagakure's Jonin Firelight, who hid with Lin in a cave. Oh, it seems that Dashi has been eliminated by you. Huo Guang sneered. Dignified Jonin can't even deal with two brats, why are they all so useless? But the two young men ignored him. Obito turned on Sharingan and observed Lin's condition. Kakashi, the chakra flow in Lin's body is abnormally chaotic. There seems to be something wrong. Maybe it's an illusion. This proves that the enemy is eager to obtain information. Kakashi speculated. Humph, it seems that you are not ordinary brats. It seems that we must deal with you. Huo Guang laughed ferociously. He raised his hand and fired a few shurikens. Obito easily avoided it, but the fire approached quickly. However, haven't had time to take action yet. Kakashi jumped down and slashed with the blade in his hand. Blood spurted out from the other's chest. Because they were concerned about Lin's safety, the two of them had no time to investigate the truth. Just released Lin's illusion. Suddenly, the body behind him turned into soil. What? Earth clone. Kakashi's pupils tightened. The two of them suddenly turned around and saw that the fire was not dead. Instead, he stood at the exit of the cave and showed a proud and treacherous smile. Although you cooperated very well, you only killed my clone. A brat is a brat, so go to hell. Earth-style rock house collapse. Boom, boom. In an instant, the entire cave began to shake. Under the influence of the opponent's ninjutsu, large boulders began to fall, and the entire cave began to collapse. Quick, run, Obito, Kakashi. Lin suddenly panicked. As a medical ninja, you must protect yourself first. So she ran in front. Kakashi and Obito ran in a hurry, but it seemed that it was too late. Boom, because Kakashi is missing his left eye. As a result, there was a blind spot in the angle of view, and he was hit on the head by a stone. He stumbled and fell to the ground, briefly fainting. Just then, suddenly, a huge rock suddenly fell from above and was about to hit Kakashi. Kakashi, be careful. Obito's expression changed suddenly. Without enough time to react, he raised his hand and threw Kakashi out. The boulder directly pressed down on half of Obito's body. Kakashi woke up and gritted his teeth to move the boulder. No, Obito, I will save you. Kakashi, save your strength, I can't do it anymore. Half of Obito's face was slightly stiff, and he said intermittently, the left half of my body is completely crushed. I can't feel the pain anymore, only numbness. How come? No, how could it become like this? Rin and Kakashi's faces were filled with sadness. Kakashi looked annoyed. If he had been more careful, if he hadn't been knocked unconscious just now, Obito wouldn't have become like this just to save me. Kakashi was filled with self-blame. I'm sorry, Obito, I don't deserve to be captain, I don't deserve to be Jonin, I don't deserve to be your partner. You, don't say this, you are a genius. A relieved smile appeared on Obito's lips. I became Jonin at the age of 12. No one is more suitable than you. Since the teachers and others have given you gifts, I would like to congratulate you on your promotion to Jonin. I give you my Sharingan. Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. Kakashi and Lin both looked stunned. None of them expected that Obito would make such a choice. No matter what people in the village say, you are an outstanding ninja. After all, your talent is recognized by even Uncle Mirror. Blood overflowed from Obito's mouth, but he kept talking. He thinks you are qualified to be a Hokage. In fact, I was not convinced at first, because I also have the dream of being a Hokage. But now it seems that the dream is about to be shattered. Kakashi, I need you to help me finish it. I will. Kakashi had tears in his eyes. Lin was also crying constantly, feeling sad in her heart. Please, Lin. Obito felt more and more that his life was passing by, so he urged, transplant my Sharingan, including the eye axis into Kakashi's left eye. I'm going to die. Kakashi, this Sharingan will help you see the future clearly. Quick, don't waste time. Lin kept urging. This allowed Kakashi to reluctantly cheer up, and under the operation of Lin's medical ninjutsu, Obito's left eye was transplanted to his left eye. And before the cave completely collapsed, Kakashi gritted his teeth and fled out with Lin. Boom! The cave collapsed completely, and Obito was completely buried by a large amount of rock. When death was approaching, his heart was filled with reluctance and sadness. It took a lot of effort to get a better relationship with Kakashi. In the end, I still couldn't confess to Lin in the end. I'm such a coward. I really want to be with them forever. And, Uncle Jing, I'm sorry. I failed to live up to your expectations of me. Farewell. And the other side, the fleeing Kakashi confronts Rock Shinobi Jonin. Huo Guang couldn't help being a little surprised. He looked at the other party and said sarcastically, what a troublesome brat, how can he still survive? But a brat is a brat. Did your parents teach you that ninjas can't shed tears? You don't understand at all. What is a bond? Let's end it. The Sharingan in Kakashi's left eye rotates. He pulled out the white fang blade from his back and rushed towards the opponent, the blade slashing down in the air. Clang, click, there was a sound of metal clashing. Sparks flew everywhere, and the white fang blade was completely shattered. The blades tied to the opponent's hands seemed to be extremely sharp. In addition, Kakashi was still young after all, and he did not have much Chikara instilled in him, so he could not compare with the Chikara of an adult Jonin. It is normal for the white fang blade to break. Seeing the opponent's sharp blade coming, Kakashi remained calm. Chidori. Kakashi ducked sideways. At an extremely fast speed, lightning flashed in the palm of his right hand. The ear-piercing thunder made a sharp sound and penetrated directly into the enemy's chest, causing blood to spurt out immediately. Kid. Huo Guang vomited blood and said in disbelief, your strength is actually stronger than before. What have you done? Haha, you don't understand at all. Go to hell. Kakashi touched his left eye with his left hand. The Chidori in his right hand suddenly exerted force and then pulled it out. Plop. The fire died and the body fell to the ground. He is stronger than before. Isn't this natural? Because this is the power of bonds. However, there's too much movement here. Attracting a large number of Iwagakure ninjas, they attacked Kakashi and Lin. As for Kakashi, due to the previous battles and the loss of Sharingan, there was not much chakra left, so he could only kill a few enemies with Chidori at most. But that's all. Seeing more and more enemies, Kakashi became more and more powerless. Is that the end? I'm sorry, Obito, I'm afraid I can't rely on your eyes to clearly see the future of the ninja world. No, you still have a chance. Suddenly, a familiar voice came to my ears. I saw a golden light flashing continuously, and a handsome figure appeared. Minato jumped quickly with Flying Thunder God, and almost instantly eliminated more than 20 ninjas. The battle ended easily and Minato walked over. It doesn't matter to you all, where are the Obito people? Teacher, Kakashi was full of self-blame. Obito was crushed to death by a rock in order to save me. He sacrificed for Konoha. I see, I'm sorry, I'm late. Namikaze Minato glanced at the collapsed cave. It seemed that he couldn't help but want to confirm something, but in the end he held back for some reason and fell into brief contemplation. Teacher, aren't you sad? Kakashi wondered. Ah. I'm sad, how could I not be sad? Obito is the hero of Konoha, and his sacrifice will bring peace to the ninja world. Minato was stunned for a moment. He reacted in time and showed just the right amount of sadness. After all, Kakashi and Lin were still young and did not see the flaws in his acting skills. Then they completed their mission. The bridge was blown up, interrupting Iwagakure's supply route. This battle later became known as the Battle of Kanobi Bridge, and Konoha had 2 more Sharingan heroes. One of them was engraved on the memorial tablet. The other one was later famous in the ninja world, Sharingan Kakashi. Hill Tomb. In the underground space, the Gedo statue stands. Obito woke up leisurely on the bed with half of his body wrapped in bandages, feeling a little confused. Where is this place? Young man from the Uchiha clan, this place is the gap between the cycle of life and death. Crack. Obito is confused. I saw an old man in front of me. The old man is wearing a black robe, his long hedgehog hair is all gray, and his face is covered with wrinkles, but above his left eye is 3 Tomo Sharingan. Your eyes. Are they Sharingan too? Obito guessed in surprise. Grandpa, are you also an elder of the Uchiha clan? Just like my Uncle Jing. Grandpa saved me, right? What does the gap between the cycle of life and death mean? Where is this place? Why is it so dark? I can't see anything. Etc. Grandpa, is the scythe in your hand a Shinigami? Is it responsible for taking people to heaven or hell? No, I don't want to die yet, I'm still young. I haven't even kissed a girl on the mouth. I don't want to go to hell yet. Help, who will save me? The old man said seriously, I am not Shinigami. The scythe is revealed, you say you are not a Shinigami. Obito did not believe in evil and wailed and begged for mercy. You are definitely the Shinigami in charge of the life and death of the Uchiha clan, right? Don't take me to hell. I'm a good person. I've helped my grandmother cross the road since I was a child, and I've helped many people in need. Although I do make a lot of pranks, I won't go to hell, right? Oh shit, it hurts so much, because of too much excitement. Obito pulled at the wound and gasped. The old man commented silently. You still know that pain means you are still alive, but your brain circuit is quite novel, and you talk a lot. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it. Obito apologized. But it's definitely a miracle that you were rescued. You were not completely crushed by the rock. It was like you passed through the rock. The old man added. What happened next? You saved me, Obito asked. Yes, you fell down in the underground passage I built, right next to the collapsed rock. You are so lucky. The old man said calmly. But despite this, half of your body is severely damaged, so I helped you with simple treatment. Thank you, old man. It's too early to talk about Shiehai now. Please repay me for this kindness in the future. I'm sorry, I can't stay here forever. Since I'm still alive, I have to return to Konoha quickly. Obito said excitedly. I can't let the teacher, Kakashi and the others worry, and if I open my eyes, Uncle Jing will be very happy. It's still a time of war. With Sharingan, I can better protect my companions and become stronger. No, you can't be a ninja anymore. The old man shook his head silently. See the reality clearly. Not everything in this world is as you wish. The longer you live, the clearer you will see. The reality is actually helplessness, pain and emptiness. Obito was speechless. What nonsense is this old man talking about? I don't understand it at all. Does he have Alzheimer's disease? But Uchiha Madara didn't care whether he understood or not, he just kept talking to himself. Young man, in this world, wherever there is light, there must be darkness. The so-called victors are also relative to the losers. If you want to maintain peace for your own selfishness, you will definitely lead to war. And in order to protect love, hatred will be born. This cycle will never stop. It is almost impossible to cut off the cause and effect of hatred. The reality is so cruel. Obito was speechless and choked. Has this old man started talking? If I keep nagging like this, will it be over? Even Uncle Jing is not as nagging as you, what an annoying old guy. Obito couldn't bear it anymore and said angrily. since just now, you old man has been nagging and saying some things that people can't understand. I don't want to stay in such a ghost place. I want to go back to Konoha. I want to find return to my companions and elders. If you want to leave, no one will stop you. Obito just wanted to take action. But something seemed to be wrong. Why does this old man have a Sharingan but hide it underground? He has met almost all the elders in Uchiha, but this old man is very strange. It seems that this old man is not a ninja of Konoha. Obito asked in a low voice, "Are you a defecting ninja?" "So, old man, who are you?" The old man smiled. He walked to the tree chair under the golem. He put the sickle aside, slowly sat on the seat, and said lightly, "Then let me tell you, I am the undead of the Uchiha clan. Kai Ha Madara." Chapter 71. Konoha Village. In front of Obito's commemorative monument, Master and apprentice Minato are laying flowers. Namikaze Minato complained in a low voice, "Teacher, I feel it's weird to worship like this when someone is not dead yet." "It's not surprising, Obito has indeed experienced a death," Jing said. "But, do you really not need to worry about anything? He is a legendary figure as famous as first Hokage. If it goes against Obito, will it be too late to rescue him?" Minato asked worriedly. "In time, I left the Flying Thunder God spell on him," Jing replied. "Then teacher, are you really going to do this? That girl Lin is quite nice. If Obito knew we did it on purpose, maybe he would blame us," Minato said again. "Minato, the awakening of Mangekyō Sharingan is not that simple. Even if there are other methods, it will change Obito's abilities," Uchiha Kagami said calmly. "Since Madara is willing to help us, it's the best thing, but Obito is a child with a simple mind and loves Lin more than anything else, even if he can be resurrected in the future. This child may not be looking towards Konoha anymore. Whether he chooses to return as Konoha's hero or choose to escape reality all depends on his own inner choice. Obito is an extremely innocent child. Especially before he went dark, apart from his poor academic performance, he was positive, warm and reliable, and he was also willing to help others. Almost the same character as Naruto. But the more Uchiha behaves like this, the more he refuses to listen. Even though Obito knew that Rin was voluntarily bumping into Kakashi's Chidori in order to prevent the Three Tails from going on a rampage in Konoha village. But he still went all the way to the dark side with Madara. And then in the battle between Six Paths and Naruto Sasuke, he seemed to be infected by Naruto's mouth escape, and regretted that he had returned to Konoha. Perhaps, will be the Hokage, take a different path. But there is no regret medicine in life, but now at least there is a chance. Kagami can only save it as much as possible, for the sake of being Obito's elder. As for why not telling Obito the truth about Lin being framed by Madara, the reason is also very simple. Telling him in advance may prevent Obito from awakening Mangekyō, and may also cause Kamui to change into other abilities. Hill Tomb. In the underground space, Uchiha Madara sits on a chair. When he heard what the other party called himself, Obito immediately laughed. "You said you were Uchiha Madara, the ancestor of my Uchiha clan. Are you kidding me? Uchiha Madara has been dead for many years. Even a kid like me knows that you died fighting the first Hokage. Do you think I am an idiot?" Hehe. Uchiha Madara smiled proudly. "I was indeed defeated by Hashirama in the battle at the Valley of the End, but I had expected it, so I used the transfer seal to set Izanagi on my right eye in advance. I have tampered with reality and been resurrected, but even so, I am not far from death. If the ghetto statue behind me had not provided me with life force, you, a junior, would not have had the chance to be rescued by me. Tampering with reality and resurrecting it. Are you kidding me? I don't believe there is such a technique. I want to go back. Kakashi, Lin, teacher, and Uncle Jing are all waiting for me to go back." Obito gritted his teeth and fell off the bed. He moved his body with difficulty with his chin, looking very embarrassed. Uchiha Madara reminded, "You'd better save some energy. You can't get out of here with your body. Besides, it's best not to move. The Hashirama cell half you just sewed on can easily fall off. I finally saved you, but don't beg to die in a hurry." Obito's eyes widened and he shouted angrily, "What are your intentions? You stinky old man, why are you arresting a kid like me? I want to cut off the cause and effect in this world. Create a world of only peace and love. Madara said. Then go ahead and kill him, it's none of my business. Obito said hysterically. I just want to return to Konoha and my companions now. If I don't go back, teacher and the others will worry about me, and the idiot Kakashi, Lin. I want to go back to protect her. Then you can die casually, but I will keep your right eye. Madara said nonchalantly. What do you want my eyes for? Don't you have your own Sharingan? Why do you want mine? Obito asked. No, this is not my Sharingan. Uchiha Madara brushed her long hair away, revealing one empty eye socket. My eyes were originally placed on another kid, and this one was later transplanted with someone else's extra Sharingan, but it's not a bad thing to have more reserves. It just so happens that the right eye is not in good condition either. You may not know that Sharingan needs two of them to exert its true power. Quote. Obito heard this and understood. It seems that as long as I go back and be with Kakashi, if he can unleash the full power of these Sharingans, then he won't be able to stay here anymore and must go back as soon as possible. But now I can't move my body. You still need to pretend, at least recover first. Then two white creatures came to help him with his rehabilitation training. One was Afe with a swirling face, and the other had several barbs on his crotch. I don't know how much time passed, but Obito gradually recovered. The temporarily missing half of his body has completely grown back, and he is now able to walk without any mobility impairment. And Madara was sitting in a chair, seemingly falling into a deep sleep. In order to obtain information, Obito pretended not to care and asked, what did Madara just say? To cut off the cause and effect in the world, what does it mean? Afe said seriously. In short, it means to abandon the ugliness in reality and escape into a dream where there is only beauty, because in dreams, everything can be done as you wish, even if the dead are resurrected. Actually, to put it bluntly, it is to use a super large illusion to create a dream, allowing people all over the world to enter it and indulge in happiness for a lifetime. This creates an ideal world with only peace. It's such a ridiculous idea, I can't understand it. Obito shook his head, but I don't think he can do it. Madara is almost too old to be human, so she still has the heart to do this. No, as long as Madara-sama can do it. Afe said seriously, but he is indeed too weak now, and there are also individual threats from the outside that need to be eradicated, so some extra preparations are needed. It has nothing to do with me. Obito didn't bother to tell him. He is almost recovered now and will leave when the time is right. But, the next day, at night, Barb White Zetsu came out of the wall and said anxiously, oh no, Lin and Kakashi you mentioned before seem to be in danger. They are surrounded by many Kurigakure ninjas and there is no way they can escape. What? I'm going to save them right now. Obito suddenly became anxious. He punched the huge rock blocking the door. But his body was too fragile to break such a large rock, and his white right arm broke directly. How could this happen? Obito said anxiously. I must protect Lin and Kakashi, and I must not let them be in danger. Your current body is not strong enough to destroy rocks, use my body. Afe's body opens into a Shikai body. It turned into a vortex and enveloped Obito. Only the right eye of Sharingan was exposed. Obito looked anxious and said, aren't you Madara's best? Does this really don't matter? It's okay, you're a good boy. Thank you. Obito no longer hesitated. Feel the power spurting out of your fist. He immediately punched it out, and the huge rock immediately cracked. Madara seemed to be awakened by the movement, and just looked at Obito's back quietly without stopping him. Are you leaving? Thank you for saving me, but I have to go. It's too early to say thank you. I'll wait for you to come back, Obito. Sorry, I probably won't come back. I have to leave and can't delay any longer. Obito glanced around. Many weapons were found hanging on the walls. Several huge shurikens, 2 ninja swords and a sickle. But the weird thing is that there seems to be an empty space in the middle. There are 3 black robes hanging on the left. He took one piece of clothing and turned around and left. Obito's steps were fast and he was galloping all the way. How is the situation now? Tell us in detail. According to the White Zetsu's report, Lin and Kakashi were surrounded by dozens of people. It seems that they are all Jonin and Anbu from Kurigakure. Each of them is very skilled. Ah Fei said. Where are the teacher and Uncle Mirror? I mean, Red Flash and Yellow Flash. Why didn't they go to support Kakashi? They all seemed delayed by other tasks. This is the time. Obito gritted his teeth in his heart and said, Kakashi, we have made an agreement to protect Lin no matter what. You can't make a mistake. Hurry up, I'll be there soon. He was getting closer to his destination. But as he got closer, he seemed to see an illusion in his right eye. That was the way Lin looked at him, with blood spilling from the corner of her mouth, her eyes filled with deathly silence and loneliness. Hey, my eyes hurt so much. At this time, don't give me any illusions. I'll be here soon, Lin, wait for me. Just a little bit closer, just a little bit closer, just catch me up. Obito's heart skipped a beat. After walking through the jungle, I saw a scene that I will never forget. Kakashi's Chidori penetrated Rin's heart. Rin's eyes were filled with tears and deathly silence, while blood spurted out of her mouth. The whole person fell to the ground, completely lifeless. No, I don't accept it. This is hell. Obito roared madly. The swirling white Zetsu began to gather together. The 2 Magatama Sharingan stuck together and then spun into 3 Magatama, which transformed into a windmill again. Wooden thorns were drilled out of the right side of Obito's body. And Kakashi also fainted because the chakra was exhausted, and there was no movement again. Reinforcements, he's just a little brat. If you dare to support me alone, you're really looking for death. Everyone come together and kill him. ... Kurigakure Anbu discovered him. He immediately looked contemptuous and raised his hand to throw out a large shuriken. Phew, whoosh. However, the shuriken penetrated the body. It didn't cause any harm to him at all, and his whole body was like nothingness. But those idiots Mist Shinobi didn't understand it at all. They looked confused and wary. They thought the enemy was hiding. Poof! Obito dashes forward, raising his hand to pierce the enemy. At the same time as the wooden thorns exploded, 3 Anbu jumped down and stabbed Obito fiercely with their Chunin knives. The next second, it was penetrated. Directly kill enemies on the ground by mistake. And Obito jumped up and kicked the 2 Anbu to death. Then he punched an angry hammer, smashing the head of the last Anbu into pieces. Although he died, he still couldn't understand his hatred. One foot after another kept stepping on his body. Mist Shinobi Anbu also discovered that the enemy was difficult and immediately changed his strategy. What's going on with this guy? What kind of strange move is this? Why is the attack ineffective? Quick, at least recover 3 Tails Jinchuriki's body and never give it to the enemy. However, this sentence only stimulated Obito. He rushed straight towards Lin, letting the opponent's blade fall. Under Kamui's influence, he was still unscathed. But he is too far away after all. Seeing that Mist Shinobi Anbu was about to blaspheme Lin, Obito threw out a branch. Bang! The moment the branch penetrated, it exploded. While the other Mist Shinobi Anbu was stunned, Obito threw him to the ground with a tight fist and punched him in the face. The enemy's mask had long been shattered, and his face was bloody. The dead can no longer die. This scene frightened everyone in Mist Shinobi. Too strong. The enemy in front of him was simply unbelievable. Any attack is ineffective against him, he is like a ghost. Everyone in Kurigakure then thought of retreating, but it was too late. Countless branches and vines sprouted from Obito's right side. Click, click, the vines are intertwined and constantly rewinding. It penetrated or crushed all the enemies, leaving their corpses hanging in the air. Broken limbs and broken legs were everywhere, and blood dripped from the rolled-up vines and branches, dyeing the earth red and reflecting the red blood moon. Obito stumbled over. He touched Lin's face with his hands, looking sad. The blood on his right eye was like blood and tears. The sad Obito held Lin's body and let out a desperate roar in unwillingness. Sorry, I am late. Lin, you have suffered. I want to cut off the cause and effect in this world, and I want to create a world with only Lin. At first he didn't understand, but now he understands. Although the dream world is false, at least Lin does not have to endure such pain. However, someone appeared in front of him. Black hair, red laminated armor, and a flame fan on his back. Uchiha Kagami looked at the boy in front of him and said calmly, "But will such a false world really be what you want?" There is no shame in escaping reality temporarily, but if you keep escaping from reality. When I resurrect Lin in the future, how will you face her? Boy, you don't want to be looked down upon by her, do you? Uncle Jing. Obito looked up and said with tears streaming down his face, resurrection. Do you mean Konoha's impure world reincarnation troops? I know those people have no sense of taste or pain, and are hardly considered normal humans. Instead of doing this, it's better to create a false world. I don't want Lin to suffer that kind of pain. No, I'm talking about real resurrection. Jing corrected. Is there still such a technique? Named Rinne Tensai technique, of course, capable of resurrecting the dead at the cost of their own lives. But this world is so cruel, why let Lin suffer again? Quote. Uchiha Kagami seemed to have expected it. It seems that you still think that Lin's death is the fault of the world, rather than the fault of a certain person. Isn't it? This world is always at war, and hatred keeps breeding new hatred and never stops. Obito seemed to agree with Madara's idea. It is also this kind of world that has caused Lin to suffer so much. It is better to cut off the cause and effect and create a false world. Maybe people have lost their freedom, but at least the world is at peace, right? Not really. Uchiha Kagami shook his head and said, the cause and effect in the world is not so easy to cut off, nor can a mere illusion bring peace to the world. And you think that Lin's death is the world's fault, which is even more wrong. What went wrong? Obito asked. Uchiha Kagami was silent for a moment and said, Lin's death was actually Uchiha Madara's fault. What? As soon as these words came out, Obito was stunned for a moment. As for Afei, who was wrapping Obito, his heart suddenly skipped a beat. No, how did he know? No, this is definitely a fool's errand. Afei didn't dare to make any further announcements, so he could only continue to eavesdrop quietly. Uncle Jing, you said it was Madara's fault. Why do you say that? Obito was a little confused. Although the old man was a bit verbose, he still saved me. And his subordinates also discovered that Kakashi and Lin were in crisis, so I rushed over. Did you misunderstand something already? There is no misunderstanding. Madara saved you just to use you. Uchiha Kagami said slowly. During the Second Ninja War, Second Hokage Senju Tobirama, it was also my second brother who noticed that there was something wrong with Kurigakure, so he sent me to infiltrate to investigate and met Madara's clone. He controlled the third Mizukage with Sharingan, and then controlled the entire Kurigakure with the Blood Mist policy, but that was more than 10 years ago. After many years, his lifespan has almost reached its limit. So a puppet is needed to help him execute Project Tsuki no Mi, which is the so-called ultimate illusion, Infinite Tsukuyomi. The prerequisite for completing Infinite Tsukuyomi is to collect all the tailed beasts, so the Mangekyō Sharingan must be used. And he chose you, a good Uchiha boy who loves the village and his companions. Once the person he likes dies, he will definitely fall into darkness, and become his agent to complete the plan, so. He used Kurigakure's ninjas to kidnap Rin, and implanted 3 tails in her, trying to attack Konoha with tailed beasts. But in fact this was just a superficial plan. The real plan was that he deliberately manipulated Kurigakure to make Kakashi and Lin is in dire straits. In order to prevent the 3 tails from going rampant and causing trouble in Konoha, Lin took the initiative to crash into Kakashi's Chidori. I think you should be able to tell. Lin's death was entirely of her own free will, but all of this was done by Madara to make you fall. Dark and designed conspiracy. Obito, aren't you awake yet? Me. Obito lowered his head. His eyes were full of anger and regret. He is not a fool, he can clearly know that there is a talisman in his heart. This talisman cannot be destroyed by one's own power. The talisman can only be destroyed by external force, and Lin thought that she was also controlled by such a talisman. As a last resort, he chose death. All of these. All guided by Madara. He was so stupid, he actually thought Madara was doing it for his own good. But Uchiha Kagami hadn't finished speaking yet, and continued to remind the boy in front of him. As for why Madara chose you, it's very simple. You are friendly to people from the bottom of your heart, even passers-by. You are extremely gentle. You have an extremely deep love in your heart. On the other hand, once you fall, your hatred for this world will become even deeper. No matter who it is, even me, Kakashi, or Minato and the others who love you. As long as you are willing to look back, you will be the hero of Konoha. After your teacher succeeds the 4th Hokage, you will be the 5th Hokage. It's also me, the Uchiha clan, the 1st Hokage. Hokage. Something seemed to be budding in Obito's heart. His dream since childhood was to be recognized by others and become the Hokage of Konoha. But Lin's death made him almost forget about this goal. Now it seemed that it was not too late to look back, but he still couldn't make up his mind. He heard what Jing just said. What did you react to? Obito stood up, and the respected elder in front of him asked in an uncertain tone, Uncle Jing, that is to say, you already knew that Madara wanted to deal with Lin. But in order to make me awaken Mangekyō, you always ignored it, is it right? Yes, that's right, Jing did not deny. Why don't you help her? As long as you take action, Lin will be fine. Lin won't have to endure such pain. Looking at Obito's sad look, Jingyu asked quietly, Obito, are you blaming me? Blame me for killing Lin? I didn't, Obito said in a panic. Whether you have it or not, I just want to tell you. Obito, I am just the leader of the Uchiha clan, not the Hokage. Besides, even the Hokage cannot protect everyone in the village. Uchiha Kagami stared at him, and his tone gradually became disappointed. The reason why I came in person is not because of my status as the clan leader, but because of my status as your uncle. I advise you not to go astray, because of personal emotions. Lin, it has nothing to do with me. But she is the person you like, so I can promise you that I will resurrect her in the future. I have no obligation to save her. If it weren't for me, Lin would die, and you would suffer for the rest of your life. You have no right to accuse me. Certainly, it's okay if you don't thank me, and it's okay to blame me. You can even go all the way to the dark side with Uchiha Madara. I don't care what you do, but if you still show no mercy to the teachers, elders, and friends who once loved you, then don't blame me for teaching the children a lesson. After all, they are all people I care about. Uncle Mirror. Obito looked flustered. The whole person became overwhelmed. After all these years of getting along with Jing, he had long regarded Jing as his uncle. Every birthday party was packed with delicious food for him, and he cared about his physical condition and love life. Except for Shisui, Uchiha no longer treated him as an outsider. Nowadays, Uncle Jing changed his usual friendly attitude. He became indifferent and even inhumane, which made him a little panicked. But before he could do anything, Uchiha Kagami ignored him and raised his hand to put on his shoulder. I'll take this thing away first. No. Ah Fei was anxious. It begins to spread throughout the body. He was about to dive towards the ground, but Uchiha Kagami raised his foot and stamped suddenly. Boom! The earth cracked. Powerful chakra swept out. Actually forcing him out of the ground, Afei gritted his teeth and used the cutting technique. However, he easily avoided the branch that was cutting technique. Uchiha Kagami raised his hand to clasp his neck, and then a flying thunder god disappeared from the spot. The whole process didn't even take a second. Ah Fei was defeated like this, completely defeated. And on this bloody ground, Obito is left alone. He looked at Lin lying on the ground and Kakashi in a coma, feeling a little dazed and helpless, and also feeling a little lonely. However, not long after, another person appeared. It was Namikaze Minato, who was wearing a Jonin vest. He walked over step by step and stopped the boy in his arms. Teacher, stop talking, I don't blame you, just cry if you want. Woo, Obito howled again. It's no wonder that he was confused and helpless, after all, he was still young. After experiencing such a big change, it was no less than experiencing a death. The girl he liked died tragically in front of him. Everyone will feel confused and at a loss. After venting his emotions, Obito raised his head and looked at the teacher, regretting very much. Did I make Uncle Jing angry? I shouldn't have said that. Uncle Jing is so good to me. It's okay, just apologize. The teacher won't argue with you. Minato said. Really, adults don't argue with children. That's good. Do you also know about Na Lin? Obito asked again. I know that at that time you were buried under rocks and were in danger. In fact, the teacher and I had been hiding in the corner. After confirming that your life was safe and taken away by the White Zetsu, we then felt relieved. Minato explained. Why, Uncle Jing did this? I don't mean to blame him. Oh, teacher. I don't know how to say. Obito hesitated. Namikaze Minato said slowly. I understand, because your Mangekyō ability is very strong. When the crisis in the ninja world comes in the future, you can help the teacher. Crisis in the ninja world? Uchiha Madara? Obito asked curiously. No, it's a bigger crisis than Uchiha Madara. I can't tell you in detail yet. Originally, I didn't agree with the teacher ignoring Lin like this, but since the teacher confessed everything to me. Namikaze Minato sighed leisurely. I chose the same way. I am ashamed of Lin, but over the years I have discovered that the teacher has shouldered more alone. He always shows a kind face to others. But as everyone knows, he looks more sad in private. He worries about the ninja world more than anyone else, and wants peace in the ninja world more than anyone else. Madara's path is wrong. False illusions will make the ninja world worse. Obito. The teacher values you very much. We have more powerful enemies that we need to face. Come back to the village with me. Yes, teacher. Obito nodded. The two then recovered Lin's body. And quickly returned to Konoha village with the unconscious Kakashi. What is unexpected is, the villagers gathered at the door, waiting for Obito's return. Welcome back, boy. It was you and Kakashi who saved Konoha from the Three Tails. Obito, you are the hero of Konoha. Quick, let's welcome our young hero together. Obito looked stunned. Before he could react, he was lifted up by the villagers. Continuously throwing it upwards, Obito smiled and his mood seemed to have improved a lot. Turn out to be. Is this what it feels like to be a hero? It feels pretty good too, with an illusion of being airy. Minato looked at his disciple quietly, feeling a little sad in his heart. From now on, except for Uchiha Kagami, Konoha has one more Uchiha tribesman recognized by the people, and this man is the young hero, Uchiha Obito. Hill tomb, underground space, elderly Madara sits. Calm and calm, he seems to have no worries that Obito will really leave. In order to make this boy fall into darkness, he almost used most of Kurigakure's Anbu power, in order to avoid being discovered by the mirror. I haven't even used White Zetsu much, just for fear of being noticed by the mirror. After all, according to information from Black Zetsu, although Uchiha Kagami is blind, he seems to have developed a lot of ninjutsu. The combat power is still comparable to that of a super shadow. If he is discovered by the mirror and stops Obito, then the plan will fail. But now it seems that Jing didn't notice it at all. His plan succeeded, and Lin successfully died in front of him, then Obito's darkening is inevitable. As long as the boy comes back and gives a few words of guidance, he can become an excellent chess piece. When the time comes, let Obito control Kurigakure. And secretly coming into contact with the still immature Nagato, so that Nagato gradually steps into the footsteps of darkness, thus preparing for later collecting tailed beasts and resurrecting them with the Rinne Tensai technique. Half of the plan has been completed. Uchiha Madara showed a confident expression. Without the blessing of Mangekyō Sharingan, other ninjutsu, no matter how powerful they are, can't deal with me. How can the light of fireflies compete with the bright moon? The only one who can stop me is Hashirama, but unfortunately Hashirama is already dead, haha. However, the next second, Black Zetsu emerged. Looking extremely flustered, he reported to Uchiha Madara. No, Madara-sama. Obito was taken away by Mirror and Minato. What? Uchiha Madara's expression changed, and she said in a deep voice, what's going on? Isn't Lin dead? Obito has awakened Mangekyō. Even if Minato and Kagami are strong, they can't keep Obito. How can they take him away by force? No, Obito left voluntarily. Black Zetsu said. Why? Lin died in front of Obito, even if he could see that it was Lin's choice. Uchiha Madara couldn't stand it any longer and asked eagerly, but shouldn't we have fallen into darkness? Why did we return to Konoha voluntarily? What was the oversight in the plan? There were no omissions in the plan. Black Zetsu said with a difficult expression, but I don't know why. Cage has seen through your plan a long time ago. He identified on the spot that you controlled Mist Shinobi Anbu and caused Lin's death. Therefore, Obito returned to Konoha village voluntarily. Uchiha Madara. Operator. No, why should he? Uchiha Madara couldn't hold back. Why did he identify me? Even if he knew that I was behind it, how could he know my detailed plan? You know, I have been planning this plan for a long time. Even if Uchiha Kagami suspects me, the Uchiha family has been in the Uchiha family for so many years. Why is he so sure that Obito is his target? I don't know, Madara-sama. Black Zetsu said helplessly. Wait, something's wrong. Black Zetsu, think about it, I gave the order directly as third Mizukage for this plan. Even Mist Shinobi internally just felt that this was a tailed beast attack plan against Konoha. Uchiha Madara looked slightly condensed and said, there are not many people who know the details of the real plan. There are only two of you, me and Afei, so, there is a spy. Did the plan leak to Shangjing? Madara-sama, I am your will, of course I will not leak the secret. Black Zetsu said cheekily. Then there's only White Zetsu. Uchiha Madara looked away. On the old face, those sinister eyes were full of oppression. White Zetsu, who had barbs on his crotch, immediately gave in and said, it's not me, Madara-sama, I hardly go out. How could I be the one who leaked the information? Besides, it's not good for me to cooperate with Mirror. Quote. Then who do you think it will be? Madara asked. Afei, it must be Afei. Afei, no, even if the Mirror's Mangekyō can be used, Afei doesn't even have eyes, so there's no way he can torture out the information. That's not me, Madara-sama, my subordinates have always been loyal. Barb White Zetsu lamented. It's really not me who leaked the secret. Please believe me and my loyalty to you. Haha, loyalty. Don't talk about this kind of thing. Uchiha Madara said disdainfully. Loyalty is just a bargaining chip for betrayal. You cowardly White Zetsu. The reason why you dare not betray is simply that you think the mirror is not enough to compare with me. Master Madara, maybe there is no mole. Black Zetsu thought for a moment and said, mirror can see through White Zetsu's mayfly technique. They were once discovered spying on Obito. Perhaps it was exposed in this way that made Jing suspicious of Obito, and thus set up the Flying Thunder God to persuade Obito. Quote. And Uchiha Kagami clearly knew that your goal was to stimulate Obito to fall into darkness with Lin, but you deliberately did not rescue Lin. It seems that you deliberately used your hand to help Obito awaken the Mangekyō Sharingan. How can it be repaired? Abominable. Uchiha Madara was angry for the first time in a long time. He touched his chin and thought, Uchiha Kagami, this junior is so insidious. He even took advantage of me. No, this kind of conspiracy. How come he is so familiar? His middle brother is Senju Tobirama. Suga, Tobirama, bring trouble to my Uchiha clan. Uchiha Madara angrily cursed. I killed Izuna, and now I won't even spare the most outstanding talent of my Uchiha clan today. After I am resurrected, I will definitely dig his grave. Madara-sama, please calm down, what should we do now? Black Zetsu said cautiously. What should I do? Obito has failed, so we can only attack that brat Nagato. No matter what, there can be no obstacles to my resurrection. Uchiha Madara said harshly. Uchiha Kagami, this young man, I have tolerated him too much, and I will never let him ruin my resurrection plan again, so before I can deal with Nagato, I must get rid of him first. But, hearing this, Black Zetsu worriedly asked, Madara-sama, can your body still hold on? The last battle between you and Cage was already too much wear and tear. If you create another clone, I'm afraid your lifespan will be running out. Uchiha Madara said with a faint smile, there is no need for me to take action personally. Uchiha Kagami has lost Mangekyō. There is no threat at all. I will arrange everything. This time, he is definitely dead. What about Afei? He was captured alive by the mirror. Black Zetsu asked again. Uchiha Madara said nonchalantly, leave him alone if he fails to achieve anything but fails. He is different from other White Zetsu. He will definitely not rebel. Then who will Nagato send to contact you? The original plan was to have Obito disguise you, but now it seems that the person needs to be changed. Black Zetsu said. Uchiha Madara pondered for a moment and said, then let's use the waste. Didn't Fei save someone not long ago? Just send him there. That kid hates the mirror. I believe he can do this well. Konoha village. Uchiha tribe land. Uchiha Kagami carried Afei back home. Afei had a look of panic on his face. He had no idea what the other party was going to do to him. He also wanted to try to escape, but there was no way. Don't even think about escaping, you can't leave, Uchiha Kagami said. Ah Fei said very bluntly, what are you going to do? Are you planning to instigate me? Let me tell you, it is impossible for me to betray Lord Madara. Even if you let me feel free, I will never betray Lord Madara. Are you White Zetsu? Also loyal? Uchiha Kagami smiled softly. No, no, you are all greedy for life and afraid of death, and you are not the same as most White Zetsu. I am very curious about your choice. In my opinion, the so-called loyalty, it's just that there are not enough chips for betrayal. The reason why you dare not betray is because you think I am too weak now. How can I compete with Madara if Mangekyō Sharingan is gone? So, it is impossible for you to help me, right? Afei rolled his eyes. What else? Madara-sama's strength is not something you can guess. I advise you to spend less time on me. What if I tell you that my Mangekyō is not blind? What? Afei was shocked. I didn't believe it at first, but it was soon confirmed. I saw that the dark eyes in the mirror turned into barbed windmills, and the bright eyes showed no sign of fatigue, let alone blindness. And looking at the eyes in front of me, he seemed to notice that his eyes seemed to have a different shape than before. There was a triangular rhombus in the middle, and he instinctively noticed that Mirror's body had an even more amazing vitality than White Zetsu. This. How is this possible? Afei was stunned and coughed. Your eyes are not blind. Are you deliberately spreading false news? Are you waiting for us to be fooled? Sure enough, you Uchiha clan have dirty hearts. Ahem, I didn't say Madara-sama, I just you. So, what are your thoughts now? Uchiha Kagami asked with a smile. No, I still won't betray Madara-sama, even if your Mangekyō is still there. But Madara-sama is very strong, and you will not be his opponent. I advise you to give up on this idea. Ah Fei said righteously. I, Ah Fei, belong to Master Madara in life and will be Master Madara's ghost in death. Don't ever want me to betray him. And, you ruined Madara-sama's plan this time. Madara-sama will definitely find a way to get rid of you. This time it will definitely be with thunderous means. Tisk tisk, it won't be long before, you will be unable to protect yourself. Really, how about we make a bet? Jing said with a smile. What are you betting on? Afei asked. Just bet that Madara can't kill me. If I win, I won't ask you to do much, just help Obito. His body is still very fragile and he can easily have problems without your protection. How about that? Uchiha Kagami dares to reveal Mangekyō. In fact, I'm not worried about Afei leaking it at all, or it doesn't matter even if Madara knows. With his current strength, even if Uchiha Madara is resurrected, as long as he does not become Ten-Tails Jinchuriki, he will not be afraid at all. And he, Uchiha Madara, cannot be resurrected yet at least. Nagato has grown a lot now, but not enough to use the Rinne Tensei technique. Even when Impure World Reincarnation was resurrected, he was still in an old state. You must know that in the original work, he was young, but it was actually Kabuto who transformed Impure World Reincarnation. But now Kabuto is only about 5 years old. As long as Madara doesn't go out to play with him personally, then no matter what conspiracy or trick is, there is no threat and there is no possibility of overturning. Then I agree. Afei thought for a moment and asked, what if Madara-sama sends White Zetsu to find me? I've obviously gained my freedom. But I'm still unwilling to go back, so I will definitely be suspected. You just need to bring the news back and say that I wanted to instigate you, but you pretended to surrender, but you were actually lying in wait around me to steal information. Uchiha Kagami said with a faint smile. Anyway, you haven't really surrendered to me now. You can report my recent movements to Madara. If possible, you can also inform me of Madara's movements. Then am I becoming a double agent? It can be said like this. Oh, I got it. Afei didn't object either. Anyway, he is not optimistic about Uchiha Kagami. But the other party is now the only one who can compete with Uchiha Madara, and he has also prevented Madara from blackening Obito, so he cannot ignore it. In this case, then he might as well bet on both sides. I, Fei, can be Madara's spy or Mirror's spy, jumping back and forth repeatedly. In a game between big people, the little people will be affected. This is the same as war. I, Fei, will fall to whoever wins. Hey hey, Ah Fei smiled inwardly. I'm really a clever guy. There are so many people in Konoha village and there are a lot of latrines. I can study poop to my heart's content. Rain shinobi village. Pitter patter, clatter. Just let all this heavy rain fall, this village will be very humid. But for the people of Rain Shinobi village, they have long been used to it. Moreover, the drainage system of this village is very developed, and the tall metal buildings can reveal the industrial level of this village. Since Yahiko Nagato and the others came to power, the Akatsuki organization has been constantly running around the ninja world, earning a lot of money, reasonably and legally. Rain Shinobi village is also gradually growing. Although it is still not as good as the Great Ninja Village, it has gradually shown a trend of development. As the reputation of the Akatsuki organization grows, the Nagato trio have gained their own reputation as the top leaders of the new Rain Shinobi village. On top of the huge tower, Konan is sorting out the finances and Yahiko is handling official documents. Nagato knows nothing about it, but fortunately he is much stronger than Yahiko and Konan. After years of teaching by his teacher, chakra has also grown a lot. Use the Rain Tiger Free technique to effectively prevent enemy invasion. Nagato stood on the tip of the tower giant statue, looking at the pattering raindrops in front of him, and couldn't help but sigh. I never thought that I would be able to become a high-ranking person in Rain Shinobi village, and that I would be able to become the leader of the Akatsuki organization. I have to thank my teacher for this. Then why don't you go to Konoha to visit the teacher? Yahiko raised his head and asked. You know the reason. Nagato hesitated. Because the ninjas of Konoha village killed your parents. Nagato. Originally, during second Hokage's tenure, most of our Rain Shinobi village's trade had to be cut by 70%, but the teacher didn't care at all. Yahiko frowned. Not only did he not lie to us, but he also did not let Konoha control Rain Shinobi village. Even when the teacher cooperated with us, he won the third Raikage's 200 million employment order, but he didn't take any points. I know you are hostile to Konoha, but the teacher is very kind to us. If the teacher hadn't helped us war orphans might have died at a certain joint, even if you didn't want to go. You have to go to the teacher's birthday party, right? Even in disguise, it's okay. When Konan and I went to the teacher's birthday party last time, he asked me again if you would come. I said you were unavailable, but the teacher also forgives you. It's really bad what you did, Nagato. I know. Nagato and the others didn't listen, but Yahiko's words were still understandable. Then I will go to the teacher's birthday party next year. I haven't gone to the teacher's birthday party for so many years. It's a bad etiquette on my part. That's good, that's right. You are indeed my good brother. Yahiko stood up. He showed a hearty smile and patted his shoulder. But Konan glanced at the two of them, and his beautiful eyes suddenly rolled. Shut up, I'm settling the accounts. If tens of millions are missed in the account later, you two go out and get me some more orders. Ahem, I actually always feel that this is a bit like a scam. If our relationship with the teacher is exposed, I'm worried that the 5 major ninja villages will explode with anger. Yahiko said awkwardly. Where is the fraud? It's legitimate to make money. How can it be a fraud? The teacher is responsible for catching people, and we are responsible for releasing them. Konan said righteously. Come back and forth, you have to pay for some travel expenses, right? This is war, and not killing people is already very kind. Yeah, you're right. Nagato and Yahiko looked at each other. He didn't choose to be stubborn anymore, and bowed his head silently. As Konan was in charge of finance, they didn't dare to refute it. After all, Konan approved the funds for their activities. Every money spent on honoring teachers must be reported. If you really piss off Konan, I won't give you a dime. Just go ahead and cry. However, Konan didn't wait for anything to say. Suddenly, Nagato's eyes tightened and his brows furrowed slightly. Someone sneaked into the village, and he blocked my rain. This person's chakra amount is amazing, but the ingredients are very mixed. The distance is too far, and my perception is a bit blurry. Is he a familiar person? Yahiko asked. Nagato shook his head, changed his words and said firmly, no, he is not a familiar person. His chakra gives me a very dark feeling. I think so, this guy is definitely not a good person. A bad guy. What should we do now? Should we send someone to notify the teacher? Konan asked cautiously. Do you need it? What are you afraid of with Nagato? Yahiko said confidently. I'd better inform you that although I have opened my eyes, I am still young after all, and have not yet mastered the true power of Rinnegan. Nagato thought for a moment and said, although that person may not be able to beat me, but no one knows whether there is backup, so we should be cautious. Okay, then it's up to you. But before that, I'll meet this person first and see what his purpose is in sneaking into the village. Yahiko showed a calm smile. As the new leader of Rain Shinobi Village, his strength may not be as strong as Nagato. But his personal charisma made him very confident, especially after being taught by Uchiha Kagami. His thinking has completely transformed. He is no longer the idealist he was before. The prerequisite for peace is force. Without force, any peace negotiation is a paper tiger, and Nagato, as the owner of Rinnegan. When you grow up in the future, you will be the savior of peace. And the Akatsuki organization. This is the well-deserved savior organization. And the person who sneaked in was obviously not a good person. If he really posed a threat to them, Yahiko would kill him mercilessly. Not long after, the three of them arrived at the outskirts of Rain Shinobi Village. This is the sea outside Rain Shinobi Village. In the original novel, Jiraiya died here, and his body sank into the sea, ultimately failing to impure world reincarnation. Above the sea, three people stood facing the wind. They all wore red cloud robes and Rain Shinobi Village protectors. There were two people standing directly opposite. One of them had a weird shape. Although he was a humanoid creature, he had barbs growing on his crotch. The other guy looked like a normal person, wearing a black robe and a black mask on his face. The masked man lowered his lips. I didn't expect to be discovered. You three brats are quite capable. Who are you? Nagato asked. I am Uchiha Madara. Madara, haha, do you really think of us as 3-year-old children? Although we have never met Uchiha Madara, we have heard the teacher mention this person. This legendary figure is a very arrogant person. Yahiko couldn't help but sneer. You can't be as sneaky as you, and your chakra is so dark. You and I are Uchiha Madara. Haha, if you are really Uchiha Madara, I am Senju Hashirama. You. The masked man suddenly turned pale and said, even if I am not Madara like Uchiha, my status is nobler than yours. You brats who are just inexperienced in Shounen Village, show some respect to me. Really? Then who are you, if you have the ability to take off the mask? Yahiko sneered. Okay, do you think I dare not? The man's temper was unbearable. He took off the mask directly and revealed his original appearance. His right eye and head were bandaged, his eyes were very gloomy and cold, and there was an X-shaped scar on his chin. If he asked you to take off your mask, why don't you take it off? When your true face is exposed, are you afraid that Uchiha Kagami will come and kill you? Are you an idiot? White Zetsu beside him was speechless for a moment. Madara-sama clearly asked him to use Madara's name to contact Nagato. And used words to induce the other party, but the old Biden couldn't stand the stimulation and took off the mask directly. You are like this. What are you using to fool Nagato? Is there something wrong with this guy's brain? However, Shimura Danzo did not listen to the advice, and his expression became more and more gloomy. I don't need you to teach me what to do. Aren't they just 3 brats? I can take them down casually. As for Uchiha Kagami, he doesn't even have Mangekyō anymore, so what can he use to kill me? If he dares to come, I will kill him in seconds. It can be regarded as revenge for deceiving me back then. White Zetsu stopped talking. Seeing the other party's true face, Yahiko was slightly surprised and said, Shimura Danzo, Sensei's former colleague, why did you come to my Rain Shinobi Village? Of course I am here to give you a clear path. You are just ninjas from the little shinobi village, you are not enough to compete with the great ninja village. This is a time of war. Rain Shinobi Village may be destroyed at any time. Shimura Danzo vowed. As long as you work with me, I can accept you as Konoha in the future and make you a part of Konoha. How about it? This kind of honor is not given casually. Well, Yahiko looked strange. Ignoring other things, it seems that you are a traitor to ninja, right? How do you give us the so-called identity of Konoha? Shimura Danzo immediately retorted, I'm not a traitor. I'm from Konoha, but that guy Uchiha Kagami. You insulted my teacher. Yahiko's tone gradually became colder. No, I didn't. it was those hateful Konoha senior officials who misunderstood me. I have always been for the good of Konoha. I will return to Konoha sooner or later. When the time comes, it is not very simple to give you a Konoha identity. In order not to ruin Madara's plan, Shimura Danzo could only swallow his anger and refrain from verbal insults for the time being. However, Yahiko looked at the other party and couldn't help but sneered. Danzo, you can't just go back to Konoha if you want. Besides, do you really think we care about this? You big countries are always aloof and rely on charity to gain gratitude. And the teacher will never look down on us in this way. He is willing to support us Rain Shinobi Village to become a great ninja village. You Danzo, why do you compare with my teacher? Haha. You are just a rebellious ninja. You are nothing more than a lost dog in the ninja world. You can't even compare to the hair on my teacher's toes. Presumptuous. Danzo was angry. How dare you humiliate me like this? Yahiko pointed at him unceremoniously and said in a disdainful tone, you are so presumptuous that you dare to humiliate my teacher. Even if you die 10 times, Nagato, go. Leave it to me. Nagato stood up. Rinnegan glared, and the turbulent chakra waves dispersed. The surrounding sea water is constantly undulating, and the momentum is very powerful. White Zetsu's pupils on the side tightened, and he was shocked. How is it possible? His Rinnegan has opened his eyes. This chakra is very strong. Logically speaking, at least it needs strong mental stimulation like Obito. Quote. How did Nagato do it? Did Uchiha Kagami do it? This guy really shouldn't be underestimated. It's a pity. Even if Danzo has the secret technique taught by Madara and that arm, I'm afraid it won't be that easy to win. White Zetsu sighed a few words. Not daring to stay any longer, they left the center of the combat range. And Shimura Danzo immediately started to take action. While chakra was mobilized, he opened Yin Dao's small mouth. Bew, 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 wind-style vacuum waves. A series of sharp air blades. They were like bullets, heading straight for Nagato's face. Nagato is very agile. He can easily avoid it by dodging several times in a row, and he raises his palm to aim at the enemy. Universal pull. What is this? My body doesn't obey its orders. Shimura Danzo's whole body was rolled back. A huge attraction burst out, making his actions completely out of control. But he is not an ordinary ninja after all. Even if his actions are out of control, he can still form seals. He formed the 3 seals of Mao, Hyenwei in succession. A strange chakra wave spread out, and he was sucked towards the target. The sharp black rod came out of Nagato's right sleeve, and he raised his hand to pierce Danzo's abdomen, causing blood to spurt out. Plop! The body falls to the ground and Danzo appears to be dead. Yahiko immediately praised. As expected of Nagato, you solved this old guy with one move. The teacher will be happy for you. But Nagato instinctively sensed something was wrong, and frowned and became alert. No, this guy is not dead yet, his chakra flows in a different direction. Did he cast some kind of magic? Not dead. Careful, Nagato, behind you. Yahiko looked confused. Then the body found on the sea turned into nothing and disappeared. And Shimura Danzo didn't know when he reappeared behind Nagato, his lips slightly opened again. Wind-style vacuum sphere. Want to sneak attack me? Haha. Nagato sneered. Quickly turning around, he also performed this move. The scale of this move was even more astonishing than the opponent's. It not only defeated all the wind blades, but also covered them with undiminished power. Shimura Danzo staggered away. Before I could react, Nagato used his ninjutsu again, and a large fire surged in front of him, as big as a sea of fire. This is fire-style extinguishing fire. Seeing the flames raging from the sky, he raised his hand and pressed it to the ground. Summoning technique. Smoke billowed out. A huge dream taper beast appeared. He opened his big mouth and took the initiative to swallow the flames, but because of the burning of the flames, it quickly disappeared. Shimura Danzo stared at Nagato, his face gradually becoming ugly. You brat. You not only know my wind style, but also fire style. Where did you learn so many advanced ninjutsu? Of course you are my teacher. I know more than you think. Uchiha Kagami, Rain Shinobi Village is the enemy. He gave you so many advanced ninjutsu, it's no different from rebelling against the village. Shimura Danzo suddenly became hysterical and said, Sure enough, under the control of Uchiha Kagami, Konoha will only gradually decline. Only I, Danzo, am the future of Konoha. You are all enemies of Konoha. I will eradicate you here. Quote. Eradicate Nima. White Zetsu feels like he's going crazy. Nagato has Madara's Rinnegan and wants to subdue the opponent to cast Rinne Tensai. If you step on your horse and kill Nagato right here, if the Rinnegan is also destroyed, then you have done a great sin. Knew it. This Shimura Danzo only cares about Konoha. There's no way he could be a normal collaborator, but as a White Zetsu his combat power is limited and there's no way he can stop Danzo. In full view of everyone, Danzo took off the bandage on his right arm. Scarlet-red Sharingans were exposed, and they were constantly turning and looked very ferocious. There were only 3 in number. And one of them has been closed and used for the loss just now. Nagato's pupils narrowed and his eyes were cold as he said, "It is indeed a Zanagi. I heard about it from my teacher. But this kind of technology is not something you can do, right? Even if you don't have high-end technology behind the scenes, you can't do it. Could it be that you and Orochimaru are partnering up? If Orochimaru is really doing something behind his back, I will ask Mr. Kagami to get rid of Orochimaru." Shimura Danzo said with a grin. Haha, I would like to, but Orochimaru is afraid of the mirror and is unwilling to cooperate with me. Konoha village has a mirror watching White Zetsu and cannot sneak in. But fortunately Orochimaru has done experiments in Rain Shinobi village before, White Zetsu stole it. This is one of the failures, but I, who also have Hashirama cells, can fully control Sharingan. Originally, I wanted to control Nine Tails to defeat Uchiha Kagami, but since you are in the way, then I'll give you a ride. I hope you don't blame me. I'm doing this for Konoha and for the peace of the ninja world. Hypocrisy. For Konoha, for peace in the ninja world. You are just a sinister villain with selfish desires. No wonder the teacher has always looked down upon you. Why do you want to kill me? The teacher spared your life, so today I will take your head as a gift for the next teacher's birthday party. Nagato sneered. He doesn't take the initiative and waits for the other party to find a flaw. As expected, Danzo took action immediately, mobilized a large amount of chakra, and used his special skills. If the wind style just now was like a bullet, then this move was more than 10 times as powerful as before, as amazing as a cannonball. Wind style vacuum Dayama. Hungry Kido sealing jutsu seal. Nagato didn't even look at it. He opened his hand and sucked in all of wind style. Then he opened his hand and performed universal pull, sucking the opponent's body in, and the big black stick pierced the opponent's abdomen again. Poof. Danzo died again. Already dead for the second time, Sharingan closed 2 on his right arm. And Shimura Danzo appeared again, holding a kunai in his right hand to cover the chakra, and once again sneaked up from behind. Nagato murmured softly. Asura Road. Click, click. I saw 3 mechanical arms drilled out of his neck. One held the opponent's neck tightly, the other restrained the opponent's shuriken, and the last hand kept turning. The mechanical twist turned into a laser cannon, which was placed between his eyebrows. Whoosh. The moment the laser fired, it pierced Danzo's forehead. Danzo is dead, 3 times so far. The 3 Sharingans on his right arm closed their eyes and seemed to be completely exhausted. Danzo's face showed panic and uneasiness. Nagato showed a joking smile. Have you lost all the Sharingan? Danzo, old thief, are you sweating now? No one can save you. If you dare to deal with our Akatsuki organization, you are worthy of death. I will cut you into pieces. Yahiko. Yes, I completely agree with this despicable villain. Conan. No, don't break the body into pieces. Yahiko. Why? Conan. How can you get the bounty for dismembered corpses? Just keep the head. Danzo's bounty is as high as 100 million. It's not easy for the Akatsuki organization to make money, so don't be such a spendthrift. Well, Conan, you're right. Yahiko and Nagato looked at each other. After all, he is an S-class rebellious nin, and the 100 million bounty will definitely not be missed. Although the Akatsuki organization's other employment orders are also very profitable, the bounty that comes to your door must not be missed, otherwise it will be too wasteful. Nagato stopped talking nonsense and raised his right hand again. At the same time as the universal pull was activated, he pressed the palm of his left hand on the ground, and a cold cry came from his heart. Summoning technique Yatatori. I saw a huge green bird with a sharp beak. He stabbed Danzo hard, but Danzo was controlled by universal pull and his body was completely unable to dodge. I can only watch death coming. However, Danzo gritted his teeth. Hashirama's right arm began to expand suddenly. Wood-style thrusting spear. Jam. Card. As Danzo mobilizes the chakra, the Hashirama cells in his right arm are constantly surging. In the blink of an eye, a huge tree emerged, causing the Yata bird's attack to barely deviate from its trajectory, and it narrowly escaped death. But the Yata bird also turned into a cloud of smoke and dissipated because it hit the big tree. Shimura Danzo did not hesitate to use Hashirama's right arm, but also used wood style to avoid Yata bird's attack. It seems that this old guy is really at the end of his skills. The next move should be to finish him off. Out of respect for the teacher's former companions, I will use the secret technique of the Muji taught to me by the teacher to end your life. Drink. Chow Big Ball Rasengan. Nagato raised his right hand impressively. No seals are needed, chakra is condensed like crazy. Blue light emitted, a huge chakra ball condensed, and Nagato's body exploded out. And Danzo didn't sit still. He took out a kunai in his right hand and covered it with the remaining chakra. This move was almost his strongest wind style. The two of them had no intention of giving in. The vacuum sword hit the big ball Rasengan straight away. Boom, boom, a deafening roar resounded. The sea was continually forced back, and the waves rose and fell. The two seemed to be in a stalemate, but before the stalemate lasted for a few seconds, Danzo couldn't hold on any longer. After all, even though he has arms with Hashirama cells. But this was just a clumsy work done by Orochimaru in his spare time when he was spying on Hanzo. It cannot be compared with the open-minded Nagato. Click, poof, the wind-style vacuum sword was completely destroyed. The kunai also turned into pieces, and the massive Rasengan hit Danzo hard. A huge blood hole was opened in his body. He was motionless and seemed to have fallen into a state of death. It's okay, my body is still intact. I should still be able to collect the bounty. But what's going on with this old guy's right eye? Is it also bandaged? I want to see what he's up to. Nagato stepped forward, feeling quietly relieved. He looked at the corpse up and down, then covered the bandage with his hand. After peeling it off, there was a scarlet 3-tomo Sharingan inside. But, the next second, Sharingan turned white. Immediately afterwards, Danzo's body also turned into smoke and disappeared. Old thief Danzo still has a Sharingan hidden. This guy's wood style just now really deliberately misled me. Izanagi hasn't released it yet. Nagato's pupils suddenly tightened. He was about to turn around, but his body couldn't move at all. As a result of touching Danzo, his body was covered with black lines, which made his body completely stiff. This is the sealing technique, the seal of the self-karma curse. And just at this moment, half of Danzo's old face was revealed behind Nagato, as well as his sinister laugh. Gia, red-haired kid, you are very smart. But the reaction was too late. I did not hesitate to use Hashirama's right arm to avoid the blow, just to lower your vigilance. Your strength is good, but your combat experience is far inferior to that of me. Didn't your teacher teach you not to look down upon any enemy you fight? Haha, Uchiha Kagami despises me, and you despise me too. The arrogance of the Uchiha clan has also been inherited by you, the red-haired brat. Now let me recover some price for Konoha, Nisuchi Dai. Danzo took out the kunai in his arms. While speaking coldly, he stabbed Nagato in the heart. However, before he could stab it, Nagato shouted angrily, and chakra exploded from his body. The powerful chakra actually instantly erased the seal bound by the self-karma curse, and saw the astonishing chakra sweeping through, and the terrifying repulsive force surging out. Shinra Tenjang. Puff. Danzo's kunai shattered again. Blood spurted out from the entire mouth, and the body rolled out. He fell heavily onto the sea, his clothes were in tatters, and he knelt down on one knee with an expression of disbelief on his face. Impossible. How is it possible? You actually used your powerful chakra to offset the seal of my self-karma. Even if you can use the chakra to offset it, you shouldn't react so quickly. Nagato showed a disdainful smile. Although I look down on you, I have never looked down on you. Your self-inflicted curse seal teacher has told me a long time ago that this sealing technique is powerful enough. Quote. But the binding force is too weak for someone with enough chakra. And the wood-style move you Danzo just used, consumed almost half of the chakra. How could you possibly restrain me? Besides, even if you have other means, it won't help. Otherwise, why do you think I keep hiding the Shinra Tenjang? Arrogance. Haha. What the three of us inherited is not the arrogance of the Uchiha clan, but caution. Let's get you on your way, Danzo. Nagato raised his hand and cast universal pull again. Danzo's broken body was pulled towards him. His injuries were so severe that he could hardly move freely throughout his body. Although Shinra Tensei's move is just a repulsive force, in fact, even if Elite Jonin Kakashi survives 2 hits, he will be seriously injured. Although Danzo is awesome, but his body was too weak, and that shot almost killed half of his life. When Shimura Danzo was dragged nearby, he was about to completely understand his life, and he let out a tragic roar on his face. You are not worthy of killing me, I am Shimura Danzo. Second Hokage's direct disciples, even if I die here today, I will eradicate you completely. For Konoha, for peace in the ninja world. Lee 4 Elephants Seal. In an instant, 4 black lines appeared on his body. A large amount of black blood sputtered out from the abdomen, spreading out in all directions. Uchiha Kagami, my once best friend, now my enemy. You have seen through all my trump cards, and now my life is at the hands of your disciples. I only serve Konoha wholeheartedly, why are you targeting me like this? And Hiruzen, it seems that I can't escape this time. It's a pity that I haven't become a Hokage in the end. If I had chosen to lay down my life for my teacher like you, would I also have a chance to become a Hokage? I have dreamed about it more than once. You are the leaves bathed in the sun, and I am the root in the darkness. You and I protect Konoha together, but why are reality and dreams completely different? Danzo's eyes were full of tragedy and his heart was full of sadness. More and more black blood kept pouring out, but the speed was very slow. It was unknown why Danzo was running out of gas. Or, originally this sealing technique was so slow. Get off here. Nagato is not panicked. As if he was already prepared, his right hand fell gently. The gravity of the universal pull will continue. Danzo continues to sink under the sea water, and the large black blood turns into a black ball barrier. The translucent black barrier seals a large amount of seawater. Then, the associated body completely disappeared. But because the seawater disappeared out of thin air, a huge Uzumaki appeared here, and the surrounding seawater was constantly replenished, which looked very spectacular. Yahiko and Konan stepped forward, and the former couldn't help but marvel. This is the 4 elephant sealing techniques that the teacher said. It's really powerful, it actually took away all the seawater here. Konan blinked his beautiful eyes. I always feel like you are belittling Danzo. Although this person is a bit sinister, a bit despicable, and a bit villain, but he is a dead person after all. Isn't it unethical for us to belittle Danzo like this? Sorry, I have no morals. Yahiko joked. Wait, where's the bounty? Konan's expression suddenly changed. Yahiko and Nagato were also shocked, with expressions of pain. Do these 4 elephant seals seal the body as well? The teacher didn't say that, wouldn't even the scum be left? It seems so. Konan stared at Nagato and said speechlessly, does that mean my 100 million is gone? Nagato, I told you to pay attention to this move in advance, why didn't you kill him in advance? It's fine now, all the corpses are gone. I originally planned to use 100 million to build the village. Should I take the 100 million from the Akatsuki organization? Nagato lowered his head and pouted, and said aggrievedly, hey, is this unreasonable? I didn't mean it. Danzo was also the teacher's former companion after all. Although his strength is a little weaker than mine. But I don't want to die if he wants to. There's a way. I don't care anyway, if my 100 million is gone, who will compensate me? Konan snorted. Yahiko and Nagato were helpless. Danzo, everyone is still alive, so you regard them as money in your pocket. So there are so many rebellious ninjas in this ninja world, and the total must exceed billions. Whether they are dead or alive, it is all your money. This is a bit unreasonable. However, for a woman who acts violently, do not reason with her. The two of them knew this well. They tried to reason again before, and most of their activity funds were deducted. After that experience, they understand that they can only find ways to make more money. As for whether the two have any grudges, that's definitely not the case. After all, the three of them have shared joys and sorrows for so many years, and this temper tantamount to coquettishness. And the teacher said, if a coquettish woman supports you from behind, you will be prosperous in no time. Therefore, the two of them are loyal to Conan and manage the money bag. They hope that Rain Shinobi Village will develop as soon as possible and become the 6th great ninja village in the ninja world. In order to confirm Danzo's body, Nagato also summoned crabs into the sea to salvage them, but they were not found. Nagato thought for a while and said, at worst, I'll ask the teacher for help. How many shadows can I catch? Let's make 1 billion first. What do you think? Okay, then my losses will be recovered. Conan smiled happily. Yahiko glanced around and couldn't help but feel weird. By the way, where's that white Zetsu just now? It's the white Zetsu with barbs on his crotch. Should we run away? After all, these white Zetsu are very weak. Nagato said. Oh, that's right. Yahiko was about to say something. A white humanoid creature emerged from the sea. The barbs on the crotch looked very funny, and white Zetsu let out a weird laugh as soon as he came out. Hee, I'm not leaving. After all, the things Madara-sama asked me to do haven't been completed yet. What is it? What does Madara want you to do? What is the purpose of your approach? Yahiko looked slightly condensed. Then let Madara-sama speak to you personally. Huh, are you kidding me? The teacher told us that although Uchiha Madara is still alive, he is already very old. His lifespan is running out and it is not easy to go out. Yahiko was stunned for a moment. I thought I heard it wrong, so I couldn't help but have some doubts. However, White Zetsu smiled half-heartedly and did not say anything. He just took a few respectful steps back. Welcome Madara-sama. And not far away, a man came towards me. Wearing red laminated armor, with long black hair, his eyes are full of haki, and his face is not old. What? He's actually here. Uchiha Madara. Yahiko and Conan suddenly felt like they were facing a formidable enemy. Cold sweat breaks out behind my back. After all, this is a legendary figure. There was no way for them not to be nervous about a being who could rival the original ninja god, especially when their teacher said that the other person would not go out easily. But now that this deity has arrived, they suddenly feel bad. However, Nagato instinctively sensed something was wrong. While protecting the two people behind him, he looked up and down with his eyes and calmed down. The amount of chakra is very small, only at the level of Jonin. It's just a clone, right? You also use the transformation technique to cover up your old age. Haha, as the teacher said, your lifespan is running out. Nagato, you control these immortal eyes very well. You can even see through my clone. It seems that Uchiha Kagami is really interested in you. Uchiha Madara praised. What on earth are you going to say? Nagato demanded. Then let me get it straight. Didn't you create the Akatsuki organization just to bring peace to the ninja world? These Rinnegan will make you the savior of this world. Uchiha Madara put forward his own opinion, but do you really think that you are the savior? With just these 2 Rinnegans, you can eliminate countless hatreds in the ninja world, prevent the ninja world from falling into war, and achieve complete peace. I never considered myself a savior, but now that I have the eyes of the immortal, I have to do something. Nagato clenched his fists and said firmly, Teacher also taught me that peace requires strength. Although I am not strong enough now, I believe I will succeed sooner or later. I firmly believe this. Uchiha Madara looked sarcastic and said, Really? But you don't know it all. Uchiha Kagami once told me. He only believes in his own power. He wants to take away your Rinnegan and become the savior of this world in your place. No way. I don't believe it. Nagato doesn't believe in evil. Haha. How innocent. Uchiha Madara continued to add information and provoked. Why did he come to you when there are so many war orphans in the world? Do you really think that Uchiha Kagami contacted you just to help you? Have you ever thought that this amiable teacher in your mind is actually using you? Wake up, Nagato, there is no love without reason in this world. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.